Chapter 784. Qin, your huaxia kung fu just now was so cool. I really admire you. Seeing that Qin Haodong was staring at her, Cathaway walked over. At this time, the wound on her shoulder had been simply bandaged by Yi Liying. Qin Haodong asked, Cathaway, do you feel anything special now? For example, dizziness or other discomfort? No, I feel very good now. You saved me twice in a row. I'm very excited. Qin Haodong frowned. It was really strange. Could it be that because of the different physiques, the onset of the disease was different between the two people? But it had been 4 or 5 minutes since Sun Bowie fainted. Even if there was a delay, it should be almost the same. Cathaway, let me feel your pulse, and see if you have been infected by the virus. As he spoke, he took Cathaway's hand and put 2 fingers on her pulse. After 2 or 3 minutes he took back his hand. It was really strange. Sun Bowie was immediately infected by the virus after being touched. But Cathaway's pulse was very stable, and there was no sign of infection. At this time, Sun Fengqing also came over and felt Cathaway's pulse. The result was that she was not infected. He frowned and said, What's going on? Is it possible that the infection of this virus has something to do with gender? It only infects men and not women? Then he shook his head. This statement was obviously not valid. After all, Zhang area was still lying in the isolation room. The two of them discussed for a long time, and exchanged opinions, but neither of them could find the reason why Cathaway was not infected. Since he couldn't figure it out, Qin Haodong simply stopped thinking about it. He turned around and said, What happened just now? Why did Niu Erwa suddenly go crazy? Su Hui said, We're already asleep. We don't know what happened. At first, we heard Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang roaring, and then they chased after Dong Anna. Li Laojin said, We also heard Niu Erwa's roar at the beginning. I thought it was the same as before, but he went crazy this time. Later he made a lot of noise, and then Zhao Ming ran back from outside. Hearing his name being called, Zhao Ming lowered his head, and wished he could find a place to hide. On the contrary, Dong Anna was relaxed and didn't care at all. Seeing their expressions, Qin Haodong asked with a cold face, What did you two do? Why is Niu Erwa so mad? Zhao Ming lowered his head and said, No, nothing to do. This has nothing to do with us. Qin Haodong said, Nothing? The two of you ran out together in the middle of the night, and then Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang went crazy together. Don't tell me it has nothing to do with you? Dong Anna said, To tell you the truth, we just went out to have sex. So what? Don't tell me that a one-night stand will make the patient sick? Before Qin Haodong could speak, Cathaway couldn't help saying, How can you do this? You just got a leopard a few days ago, and now you're going out to have sex. Can't you stop for a bit? Dong Anna glared at him. So what if I want to have sex with you? What does it have to do with you? Don't think that I can't tell that you've taken a fancy to this pretty boy. If you have the ability, go out with him. Seeing her unreasonable look, Cathaway was so angry that her face turned red. How can you be like this? Are you being unreasonable? Su Hui said, Dong Anna, it's because of your nonsense that Cathaway and Sun Bowie were injured this time. Don't you feel guilty at all? Dong Anna said angrily, I don't understand. I just want to have sex with you. Why are you so angry? What does that guy's madness have to do with us? Speaking of this, she seemed to want to continue. She continued to shout, You have to understand that the first victim is us. At that time, that guy directly broke the wall. We were next door and almost died in their hands. Why don't you sympathize with me at all? Hearing this, Qin Haodong's expression suddenly changed. Are you next door to Niu Erwa? Dong Anna knew that Qin Haodong didn't like her, and had lost the intention to seduce him. She said straightforwardly, Nonsense. Except for the 2 tents. There is only one empty house. Where else can we go? Are we going to the foot of the mountain to attract the leopard? As soon as she finished speaking, Qin Haodong raised his hand and slapped her in the face. Although he did not use his true power in this slap, it was still very heavy. It directly sent Dong Anna flying 3 or 4 meters away. The people around were all shocked. They didn't expect that Qin Haodong would be so angry and hit her. Dong Anna got up from the ground and shouted with disheveled hair, Qin, do you think you are great just because you are rich? Why did you hit me? You be *tch. How dare you say that it wasn't you who did it this time? You're already on your period, but you're still restless. How dare you go to the next room next to Nyo Irwa to have sex with him? Haven't you heard that this kind of patient will go crazy when he smells blood? Chin Haodong was furious. If he hadn't come back in time, everyone present would have died in the hands of Nyo Irwa. After hearing what he said, the others suddenly realized why Nyo Irwa and Zhang Dezhuang had suddenly gone crazy. It turned out that it was all because of Dong Anna. Wang Zhonglin couldn't stand it anymore. Because of this woman's nonsense, not only did she almost lose her official position, but she also put his life on the line just now. He said coldly, Dong Anna, it's too outrageous. Are you here to help or to have sex with him? I will report these things truthfully. That's right. It's too outrageous. You're a disgrace to our expert group. It's not good to have sex with him anywhere, but he came here to have sex with him. He almost killed everyone. The others also condemned him. After all, what had happened just now concerned everyone. If Chin Haodong hadn't come back in time, they would have been infected by the virus and might have been killed by Nyo Irwa on the spot. Dong Anna cried, Can you blame me? I didn't know that it would make Nyo Irwa crazy. She really didn't know about this. Li Laojin had mentioned it that day, but she had been thinking about who to seduce at night and didn't hear it at all. I don't know. Is that the reason? Chin Haodong was obviously still angry. You came here to be gilded, so you should stay here obediently. When you finish the task here, you will be rewarded when you go back. But look at you. What have you done these days? How much trouble have you caused? Seeing that she was pointed out in public, Dong Anna immediately shouted unhappily, Chin Haodong, what right do you have to say that about me? Who are you calling gilded? I think you're still gilded. If you're so capable, why don't you cure these patients? Chin Haodong's words suddenly poked the lungs of several people. Zhao Meng also said, That's right. If you have the ability, why don't you cure these patients? We're all experts. Since you don't have the ability, what right do you have to say that we're gilded? His words were full of confidence. Although Chin Haodong had cured Dong Anna's snake venom before, if there was a serum, Western medicine could also cure it. In his eyes, this did not mean that the medical level was very high. Even the latest medicine that Zhuo Bufan got had no effect on the zombie virus in front of him. He didn't believe that he could come up with an effective way in such a short time. Dong Anna, you shameless *tch. You're ungrateful. Have you forgotten who saved you when you went up the mountain? And you, Zhao Meng. I couldn't find you during the treatment, but you made such a big mess at night and almost killed everyone. How dare you stand here and shout? Hearing someone poking their lungs, Dong Anna and Zhao Meng turned around together. They were about to fight back, but they both stood there in a daze. It turned out that the person who spoke was Sun Bowie, who had just been infected by the virus. Zhao Meng. He licked his dry lips and stammered. You're cured? Of course. Do you think the Sambao blood cleansing pill developed by the medical sage is a joke? One pill completely cured me of the virus. Although Sun Bowie had just fallen into a coma, he was sober and could hear everything that was happening around him clearly. How is this possible? Not only Zhao Meng and Dong Anna were dumbfounded, but even Zhuo Bufan and the others stood there in a daze. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Sun Bowie survived the disaster and was in high spirits. He shouted proudly, Now you know who's gilded, don't you? How dare you insult the medical sage? I really don't know who gave you the courage. Who gave you the face? I've said that what you Western medicine can't do doesn't mean that we Chinese medicine can't do. Now you've seen the level of the medical sage. In just one night, he found a way to cure the virus. Seeing Sun Bowie glancing at Zhao Meng and the others, Wang Zhonglin's blood surged. Oh my God, he's cured. He's really cured. We've found an effective medicine. Ignoring his identity as the director, he jumped up from the ground and hugged Chin Haodong excitedly. Dr. Chin, thank you so much. You've made a great contribution to our country. Seeing that Chin Haodong had saved Sun Bowie, except for Zhuo Bufan and the others, everyone else cheered excitedly. Although Cathaway was not from Huaxia, she was still very excited. She rushed over and hugged Chin Haodong, kissing him on both sides of his cheeks. Qin, you're so amazing. I want to spread your deeds all over the world and let everyone know the power of Chinese medicine and your excellence. Qin Haodong wiped his cheeks and said awkwardly to Su Hui, "Don't mind me. This is the etiquette of the West. It's the same for everyone." "No, Qin, I really like you." As she spoke, Cathaway kissed Qin Haodong on the mouth again. After everyone cheered, Wang Zhonglin came over and said, "Dr. Qin, how much of this medicine do you have? Can you cure all the other patients?" Qin Haodong said, "Director Wang, there's one thing I need to explain to you. My Sanbao blood cleansing pill can cure this virus, but it's only limited to the first stage. It can't do anything to Niu Erhua and Zhang Dazhuang." Although it could not cure everyone 100%, Wang Zhonglin still said excitedly, "This is already very valuable. As long as we can cure the people infected with the virus in the first stage, there will be no second stage in the future." Sun Bowie glanced at Zhuo Bufan and said, "It's a pity that Zhang Dazhuang died. If the medical sage had treated him earlier, he would not have entered the second stage." Zhuo Bufan's face was livid with sarcasm, but he had nothing to say. In a sense, he did hurt Zhang Dazhuang. Wang Zhonglin said, "Dr. Qin, there's no time to lose. Let's start treating the patients now." "I think so too." Chapter 785. In line with the principle of making every possible effort, he gave one to each of Niu Erhua and Zhang Dazhuang. As expected, half an hour later, the temperature of the other patients all subsided. They opened their eyes again and regained their senses. Their situation was similar to that of Sun Bowie. However, Niu Erhua and Zhang Dazhuang, who had entered the second stage of infection, did not get better. They were still in that crazy state. Even so, everyone was already ecstatic. Being able to cure the patients in the first stage of infection was equivalent to conquering the virus. Although it was already late at night, everyone was still cheering and celebrating the milestone victory. To be on the safe side, Yi Liang redid the blood test on the cured infected people. The final result was that there was no more zombie virus in the blood, and they had completely recovered. Wang Zhonglin took Qin Haodong's hand and was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. "Dr. Qin, thank you so much this time. You've made a great contribution." Zhuo Bufan, Dong Anna, Zhao Meng and Guitao, who were standing next to him, looked defeated. Qin Haodong's success was not a good thing for them. As long as they reported what they had done in the past few days to the higher-ups, not only would they not get any benefits, but they would also be severely punished when they went back. While everyone was cheering and celebrating, they secretly went to a corner. Zhao Meng said, "Director, what should we do? If the higher-ups know that this boy surnamed Qin has cured the zombie virus, we will not have a good life." Zhuo Bufan's face was livid. There was nothing he could do about it now. His special medicine had no effect on the zombie virus. At this time, Guitao said, "Leader, I have a way. Maybe we can save the current situation." Zhuo Bufan's expression changed. "What's the way? Hurry up and tell me." Guitao said, "The foreign woman just now was also scratched by Niu Erhua, but she has not reacted at all. This shows that she has the ability to resist this virus. If we can test the antibodies to the zombie virus in her blood and make a vaccine, we can suppress Qin Haodong. Through our family's connections, we will definitely win the approval of the higher-ups." Zhuo Bufan's eyes lit up. "You're right. There must be something special in that woman's blood. Only our Western medicine can test the blood to extract antibodies. Chinese medicine practitioners can only be anxious." After making up his mind, he said to Zhao Meng, "Go and discuss it with Cathaway, and let her accept our blood test." "Yes, Dean." Now that the four of them were in the same boat, Zhao Meng did not refuse and immediately came to Cathaway. "Miss Cathaway, for safety's sake, I think we should also give you a blood test to determine if you are infected with this zombie virus. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if there is an incubation period." Cathaway didn't think too much about it and immediately accepted this suggestion. Soon, Zhuo Bufan and the others took Cathaway's blood and began to conduct various tests on the equipment. The others went back to sleep after the excitement, but they were still busy. They didn't finish all the tests until dawn. However, the results disappointed them. Cathaway's blood was normal. She was not infected with the zombie virus, nor did they find the antibodies they wanted. Zhuo Bufan sighed and said, "It seems that we can only watch that guy go back and make a great contribution, and we will all be punished." The others also looked very serious. Zhuo Bufan's special medicine had aggravated Zhang Dazhuang's condition, causing him to be transferred from the first stage to the second stage, which made him unable to be treated in the end. After reporting it, they would definitely be held responsible. The rest of the people were also in serious trouble. The most serious ones were Dong Anna and Zhao Meng. Because of the last incident, they almost killed everyone present. If they were reported truthfully, they might even be put in jail. After a moment of silence, Zhao Meng gritted his teeth and said, "Now that things have come to this, we can only fight with Qin Haodong." Dong Anna said, "If you have any ideas, tell me quickly. As long as we can deal with that guy, I'll do anything." She hated Qin Haodong so much that she had completely forgotten that he had saved her life. Zhao Meng said, "Since you can come here with the expert team, you must have some connections. Now it's time to use them. My uncle is the Minister of Health, Gao Haiming, but he usually doesn't allow me to reveal this identity, but now I have to say it." Dong Anna said, "My third uncle is the Deputy Director of the Biochemistry Research Center." Guo Tao said, "My aunt is the Deputy Director of the Biochemistry Research Center." Dong Anna said, "In addition to my third uncle, my family has many other connections in the capital, but what's the use of that?" A ruthless look flashed across Zhao Meng's face. "Now let's use all these connections and go to the Ministry of Health to complain about Qin Haodong. We'll completely turn the current situation around," Guo Tao said in surprise. "But that guy didn't make any mistakes. Now he has even treated the people infected with the zombie virus. How can we sue him?" Zhuo Bufan did not speak, but his eyes flickered. He seemed to understand Zhao Meng's intention. Zhao Meng said, "Who said that he didn't make any mistakes? If we say that he did, then he did." With a sinister smile on his face, he lowered his voice and said a few words to them. Dong Anna cried, "Your idea is good. Once it succeeds, we will completely turn the tables, and that guy will be completely trampled under our feet." At this time Zhuo Bufan said, "Your idea is really good. It can turn the current situation around, but you forgot the most important thing. Now that guy has the prescription of the Sanbao blood cleansing pill in his hand. Only it can cure these people infected with the zombie virus. If we do this, we will get the credit. But what if there are more infected people? The consequences will be even more serious." Zhao Meng said with a sinister smile, "Director, I've prepared for this." After that, he took out his mobile phone from his pocket and showed them a photo. "Look what this is." One of them leaned over and saw a traditional Chinese medicine prescription on the screen of the mobile phone. The Sanbao blood cleansing pill was written on it. Zhuo Bufan asked in surprise, "How did you get this thing? Is it accurate?" Zhao Meng said, "This is the prescription that old son got from Qin Haodong. He fiddled with it all night. When he went to the toilet, I secretly took a picture of it with my mobile phone. Now it comes in handy." Dong Anna asked, "But this is a traditional Chinese medicine prescription. We don't know how to use it." Zhuo Bufan thought for a moment and said, "This problem can be solved. Look, the prescription is extremely detailed, and even the usage and dosage are clearly marked. As long as we find someone who knows traditional Chinese medicine, we can prepare this kind of medicine. Then we can crush it and pour it into the capsule. At that time, the effect will be the same, and the prescription will be ours." Guo Tao cried, "That's great. That's a great idea. Let's hurry up. Otherwise, when the Department of Sanity reports the situation to the Ministry of Health, it will be difficult for us." They nodded together, then took out their mobile phones and went to the side to make a call. They used all the connections they could. Because of the excitement, Wang Zhonglin and the others got up early. After breakfast, they said to Qin Haodong and the others, "Let's stay here for a while. First, we need to observe the later reactions of these villagers to see if there will be any relapses. In addition, we need to observe the reactions of Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang." I'll go back to the Department of Sanity now and report the situation here truthfully to the higher-ups. I'll ask for your credit. After that, he left Wangshan village and returned to the Department of Sanity of Yundian Province. After Wang Zhonglin left, Qin Haodong and Sun Fengqing felt the pulses of the cured villagers again and found that they were in good condition and there was no change. Sun Bowie said excitedly, "Dr. Qin, you really won glory for our traditional Chinese medicine this time. When the news gets out, our traditional Chinese medicine will be completely proud. Let's see who dares to say that traditional Chinese medicine can't cure diseases, and who dares to say that Western medicine is better than traditional Chinese medicine." A smile also appeared at the corner of Qin Haodong's mouth. He didn't care about the rewards from the higher-ups, but he had always pursued the revitalization of traditional Chinese medicine. At this time, Cathaway came over with a laptop. "Qin, I'm working on your manuscript. I'm going to tell the world the magic of traditional Chinese medicine and let everyone know your excellence. But there's one thing I don't understand. Why are your photos not clear?" As she spoke, she turned on the computer and found a photo of Qin Haodong. "Take a look. You're the only one I'm not clear on. The others are all very good. Why is that?" Of course, Qin Haodong wouldn't tell her that he had cast an illusion on his face when taking photos. He said with a smile, "I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with your photography." Cathaway said unconvinced, "That's impossible. I've received professional training in photography and won awards in international photography competitions. Besides, if there's something wrong with my photography, other people's photos won't be good either. Why are other people's photos so clear?" Qin Haodong spread out his hands and said, "I don't know. Maybe I'm too handsome, and the camera is jealous." "You?" Of course, Cathaway wouldn't believe this lame reason. She rolled her eyes at Qin Haodong charmingly and was about to say something when several figures appeared on the path. The one walking in the front was a slightly fat middle-aged man, followed by several policemen. They all looked confused and didn't know what the police were doing at this time. Soon, the middle-aged man walked to the gate of the township government and asked Li Laojin to gather everyone together. Then he said formally, "Everyone, I'm Lu Song, the office director of the Department of Sanity of Yundian Province. Just now, the Department of Sanity received a document from the Ministry of Health to report on the situation of the expert group's treatment of the zombie virus. So fast. I didn't expect Director Wang to be so efficient." Sun Bowie whispered excitedly in Qin Haodong's ear, "Dr. Qin, you've made such a great contribution. The higher-ups will definitely reward you heavily." Qin Haodong frowned slightly. He felt that something was wrong. Wang Zhonglin had just left and probably hadn't returned to the Department of Sanity yet. Even if the Ministry of Health wanted to reward him, it would not be so soon. Moreover, if the reward was announced, there was no need to bring the police here. There must be something unknown. Lu Song took out a document with a big red seal from his briefcase and read it out loud. This time, the Ministry of Health set up a team of experts to go to Yundian Province to treat the sudden disease. Zhuo Bufan, the director of the Central Hospital of the capital, has made great contributions to the development of a special medicine to treat the zombie virus. The Ministry of Health has awarded him a Special Medical Contribution Award. He has made a first-class contribution once and will be given a reward of 1 million yuan. Hearing this, everyone's expressions changed. It was Qin Haodong who had cured the zombie virus. When did it become Zhuo Bufan? The following 3 chapters are for readers who send red envelopes to other websites. Big Face Cat 9527's updates. Chapter 786. Sun Bowie immediately shouted, "Director Lu, are you mistaken? It was Dr. Qin Haodong who cured the zombie virus. It has nothing to do with Dr. Zhuo Bufan." Sun Song furrowed his brows. He was not happy to be interrupted. "Little comrade, I'm just conveying the documents. If you have any problem, you can report it to the Ministry of Health. It's not up to me. And please pay attention to your manners. Don't interrupt others at will." Sun Bowie wanted to say something, but he was stopped by Qin Haodong. Sun Song's attitude seemed to be very bad, but what he said was true. This matter came from the Ministry of Health, and it was not up to the director of the Department of Sanity. He didn't know anything, and was just carrying out the order. Sun Song continued to read the document in his hand. The following contents were the commendations and rewards for Zhao Meng and the researchers of the Biological Research Center of the Institute of Biochemistry, but Qin Haodong and Sun Fengqing were not mentioned. Why? What's wrong with them? Dr. Qin has made such a great contribution. Why didn't they mention it? Sun Bowie was indignant. At this time, Sun Song continued to read. The following is the punishment decision for the doctors of traditional Chinese medicine led by Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong ignored Dr. Zhu Bufan's dissuasion and forcibly treated Zhang Dazhuang in violation of the regulations. The random use of drugs caused the virus to mutate, so that Zhang Dazhuang could not be cured in the end. At the same time, Qin Haodong seriously violated the rules of the expert group. When everyone was working on scientific research, he took his girlfriend Su Hui out to travel and had an affair with her. In the end, Lu Erwa went crazy and almost made a big mistake. In the end, he was stopped by Dr. Zhu Bufan and the others. The above situation has seriously violated the requirements of the Ministry of Health for doctors. After study, the Ministry of Health decided to revoke Qin Haodong's physician's qualification certificate, his title of National Grand Master of Traditional Chinese Medicine, and his Special Medical Contribution Award. The three doctors of traditional Chinese medicine, Sun Fengqing, Sun Bowie and Su Hui, did not stop Qin Haodong's violation of the rules. On the contrary, they covered up and connived at him. The Ministry of Health has decided to remove them from the expert group and never use them again. The content of this document was not too long. After reading it, everyone felt like they were being struck by lightning. It had completely subverted their understanding. Sun Bowie was so angry that he wanted to fight with Lu Song, but he was pulled back by Qin Haodong. Lu Song was just an office director who read out documents, and it had nothing to do with him. At the same time, it was useless to say anything to him. This kind of thing could be guessed even with the back of one's head. It must be Zhu Bufan and the others who had done something up there. They had turned black and white upside down and ran to his side to pick the peaches. Sure enough, after Lu Song finished reading the document, Zhu Bufan and the others immediately cheered, as if they had really cured these zombie virus-infected people. Qin Haodong was enraged. If these people had just robbed him of his medical achievements, it would have been fine. But they had even tried to harm him. His title as the National Grand Master of Chinese Medicine was revoked, and even his physician's qualification certificate was revoked. That was to say, he would never be a legal doctor again. After that, Sun Song put away the document in his hand and came over with the police. He said, "Please leave here immediately according to the notice of the Ministry of Health. Don't interfere with the work of the expert panel." Cathaway listened to the document and immediately stepped forward to defend the injustice. "You're wrong. You're all wrong. It's Dr. Qin who cured these patients. Why do you drive him away? Why do you revoke his physician's qualification certificate? This is the document. You can't argue with me." Sun Song then said to Cathaway, "Miss Cathaway, according to the decision of the higher-ups, your interview has not been approved by our publicity department. It is an illegal interview, so please hand over your interview materials and leave here." Hearing that her interview materials were going to be confiscated, Cathaway suddenly became anxious. "These are all the materials I collected. You have no right to do this. This is interfering with my right to report news. I'm sorry, Miss Cathaway. Your interview violated our relevant regulations, so we have to confiscate these materials." After that, he waved his hand behind him. Two policemen immediately stepped forward and took away Cathaway's mobile phone, laptop, camera and other related interview equipment. After finding the memory card inside, they destroyed all the materials collected by Cathaway. "You can't do this. It's illegal. I'll complain about you." Cathaway was furious, but there was nothing she could do. After Sun Song and his men destroyed all the interview materials, he returned the camera and other equipment to Cathaway and said, "Miss Cathaway, Please leave us. Don't disturb the normal work of the working group. That's outrageous. You people are too barbaric. Hathaway still wanted to quarrel with Sun Song, but Chin Haodong grabbed her arm. Let's go. Since they let us go, there's no need for us to stay here. Hathaway cried. But they destroyed all my interview materials. The truth was recorded there. Zhao Meng came over and said proudly, Miss Hathaway, you worry too much. The truth is with us. And we will also carry out publicity reports. You don't have to worry about it. After that, this guy laughed unscrupulously. Up to now, his plan had undoubtedly been very successful. No, those are all fabricated facts. They are not the truth at all. Chin Haodong stopped the angry Hathaway and said, Forget it, let's go. Hathaway said angrily, Are we just going to let it go? Chin Haodong said, It's useless for us to quarrel here. It won't change the result. Chin Haodong, although you are very annoying, you are quite sensible. Dong Anna raised her chin and walked over. She looked like an old hen who had won. Let me tell you, this is strength. Even if you don't accept it, so what? You will still be kicked out of the expert group. Guo also came over with a sinister smile. Chin Haodong, I heard that you have a nickname, Medical Sage. Are you dumbfounded now? From now on, you can't even be a doctor. How can you be called Medical Sage? Seeing that these guys were insulting Chin Haodong, Sun Bowie stepped forward and was about to fight with them. Chin Haodong quickly pulled him back and said, Don't be impulsive. These people may be waiting to send us to prison. Seeing that Chin Haodong was so rational, a look of disappointment flashed across Zhao Meng's face. He knew that Chin Haodong knew some kung fu. As long as he hit someone, the police behind him would immediately send him to prison. In this way, there was no risk of their conspiracy being exposed. Chin Haodong glanced at them and said lightly, Do you think you've won? Dong Anna said proudly, Isn't it? The Ministry of Health's notice has been issued. This is the final result. The final result? Chin Haodong smiled perfectly. It's still far from it. The final result will be very exciting for you. After that, he was about to leave with a few people. Wait a minute. Zhao Meng stopped Chin Haodong and said, We've brought the best police equipment. Take your red cloth away. The policeman who came with Lu Song did bring a few handcuffs and shackles made of fine steel. They put them on Niu Erhua and Zhang Dezhuang, and untied the 2 pieces of 10 meters of mortal world, and returned them to Chin Haodong. Chin Haodong knew that these people didn't want to have anything to do with him now. He put away the 10 feet of mortal world, and strode down the mountain with a few people. Sun Bowie said indignantly, Dr. Chin, are we just going to tolerate it? Chin Haodong smiled and said, This is not tolerance. This is called retreating in order to advance. Don't worry, their pride is only temporary. It's not that they won't take revenge. Sun Fengqing said, Bowie, you're a few years older than little Chin. Why can't you calm down? With your hot temper, when will you be able to achieve great things? Sun Bowie said, But now we've all been kicked out of the expert group. Niu Erhua and Zhang Dezhuang don't have long lives. When they die, Zhou Bufan and the others will succeed, and our credit will be completely taken away. Dr. Chin cured the zombie virus. Now, not only did he not get any reward, but his medical qualification has also been revoked. Is there any justice in this? Chin Haodong said, It's not as simple as you think. Sun Bowie asked in surprise, Dr. Chin, is there any secret hidden in it? Chin Haodong said, Have you ever thought that the people of Oxhorn Village have lived here for so many years, but why have they never found this virus before? Why did it suddenly break out now? Sun Bowie said, What's so strange about that? Maybe the people in their village have not been bitten by bats before. Or maybe the virus carried by bats has mutated recently. Chin Haodong said, If it's only one thing, your explanation is reasonable. But why were you and Hathaway scratched by Niu Erhua at the same time? You were infected with the virus, but she was fine. Sun Bowie scratched his head and said, I don't know. Hathaway said, Chin, I'm also very confused. Do you know why? Chin Haodong said, Have you ever heard of the latest weapon called a genetic bomb? Sun Bowie asked in surprise, Genetic bomb? I've never heard of it. It sounds like a name for a weapon. What does it have to do with us doctors? As a well-known reporter of the Eye of the World, Cathaway had seen a lot over the years. She said, I know a little about the genetic bomb. It's called a bomb, but it's actually a kind of biochemical weapon. After this kind of bomb is thrown, it will release special poisonous gas. Sun Bowie asked, Isn't it a poisonous gas bomb? Cathaway said, It's different from ordinary poisonous gas bombs. The poisonous gas released by the genetic bomb contains genetic code. It uses genetic targeting technology and can only be used on people with specific genes. For example, if I take the genes of your Sun family and use them to make a genetic bomb, then this bomb will only hurt your family and no one else. Oh my God, there's such a high-tech thing. Sun Bowie was also a very smart person. When he heard this, he understood what Qin Haodong meant. He said, Dr. Qin, do you mean that this zombie virus only targets us yellow people and has no effect on white people like Cathaway? Qin Haodong nodded and said, This is the only explanation I can find at present. Maybe it's aimed at the whole yellow race. Or maybe it's only aimed at us Huaxia people. The effective group of this virus has not been finally determined. As for the genetic bomb, he had heard Hu Shaoxian mention it in a chat. In the famous oil war of the last century, country had planned to use this kind of genetic targeting bomb on the leader of an oil country and behead his whole family. Although it was cancelled later due to other reasons, it turned out that this kind of technology was indeed very mature and had been put into actual combat. Chapter 787. Cathaway seemed to be suddenly enlightened. She exclaimed, Do you mean that this is not a natural disaster, but a man-made disaster? The virus in Niu Erwa's body was injected artificially? Qin Haodong said, You're only half right. Niu Erwa was indeed infected with the virus after being bitten by a bat. But it's very likely that the virus was added to the bat, so that it can be more hidden. Su Hui said, In other words, there's someone behind the zombie virus? Qin Haodong said, I think so. The person behind the scenes has gone through so much trouble. He definitely won't stop so easily. He will definitely do something else. Su Hui's expression changed. In that case, this is a conspiracy against Huaxia. Should we report it to the authorities? Sun Bowie said angrily, They've already driven us out of the expert group. Why should we tell them? Let them reap what they sow. Sun Fengqing scolded, Nonsense. This kind of big event endangers the entire Huaxia nation. How can we be impulsive because of personal honor? Seeing that his grandfather was angry, Sun Bowie shut his mouth in embarrassment and did not dare to say anything more. Qin Haodong said, This matter is indeed very important, but it's also my personal speculation. There's no substantial evidence at present. I'm afraid that the higher-ups won't listen to it even if I tell them. They'll only think that we're being alarmist after being expelled from the expert group. Well, I'll call Minister Xiao and mention this matter to him. I'll do my best. As soon as he finished speaking, the phone in his pocket rang. He took it out and saw that it was Xiao Weiman. After the phone was connected, Xiao Weiman said, Little Qin, I'm sorry. I can't do anything about it. You've been wronged. Qin Haodong's heart warmed. Minister Xiao, do you know the truth? Xiao Weiman said, Little Qin, I believe in you. I know you're not the kind of person who doesn't know what's important. There must be someone behind this. Wang Zhonglin also called me just now and told me about the treatment of the zombie virus. After knowing that it was Xiao Weiman who called, Sun Bowie had been listening attentively. It was quiet in the mountain, so he heard most of the conversation. He shouted, Minister Xiao, you must help Dr. Qin. He made a great contribution this time, but his physician's qualification certificate was revoked. It's unreasonable. Qin Haodong was also a little surprised. Since Xiao Weiman trusted him, why did the Ministry of Health still issue that notice? Xiao Weiman sighed and said, Dr. Qin, I'm really sorry. I can't help you with this matter. This matter has a great impact. I was adjusted this morning. Now I'm not in charge of medical treatment but logistics. Only then did Qin Haodong understand what was going on. It seemed that the power behind Zhao Meng and Dong Anna was quite strong. He said, Minister Xiao, It seems that I have implicated you. Xiao Weiman sighed and said, I'm fine. Although the scope of my business has been adjusted, I'm still the deputy minister. But you are different. Now that your physician's qualification certificate has been revoked, your future work will be affected. If I hadn't selected you to the expert group, this wouldn't have happened. Speaking of which, I'm sorry. Although he felt sorry for Qin Haodong, an excellent doctor, in fact his heart was full of loneliness. Originally, as the first deputy minister of the Ministry of Health, he was the most powerful candidate for the next minister of the Ministry of Health. But after this incident, he had become the last deputy minister, and his hope had become extremely slim. Qin Haodong sneered and said, Minister Xiao, don't worry. Evil will not prevail over good. In a few days, you will see a different result. Xiao Weiman thought that Qin Haodong was just comforting him, so he didn't continue the topic. He asked with concern, Little Qin, what do you want to do next? Since we've arrived in Yundian province, I'm going to take Su Hui to Myanmar for a few days. Xiao Weiman said, That's good. Let's go and relax. Minister Xiao, I have one more thing to report to you. Qin Haodong told him his speculation and finally said, I don't think this virus incident is simple. There must be someone behind it. Xiao Weiman was shocked at first, and then he said, Little Qin, I'll report this matter to the higher-ups. But as you guessed, even if we tell them, no one will believe it. They will think that it's a rumor made up after our failure. Qin Haodong said, We'll do our best and leave it to fate. Anyway, I have the Sambao blood-cleansing pill in my hand now, so those people can't cause too much trouble. The two of them hung up the phone. Sun Fengqing sighed and said, I didn't expect things to turn out like this. Qin Haodong comforted him. Mr. Sun, it's only temporary. Those people will soon be punished. Sun Bowie said, Dr. Qin, there's something I don't understand. These people drove you out of the medical team. What if the zombie virus breaks out again? How can they treat it? Su Hui also said, Yes, they told the higher-ups that Zhuo Bufan cured the zombie virus. How can Zhuo Bufan explain this to the public? If there are more cases, how can he treat it? If he can't treat it, won't he be shooting himself in the foot? Qin Haodong shook his head and said, I don't know either. Maybe they have some tricks that we don't know about. Cathaway blinked her big beautiful eyes and said, Qin, maybe I can give you the answer. Qin Haodong said doubtfully, Oh, tell me about it. I can't tell you now. Cathaway smiled slyly and said, I'm an excellent reporter. They thought that it would be fine if they deleted the information I recorded. In fact, I had already prepared a backup plan. When I first arrived in Wangshan village, that guy named Zhao Meng tried to get close to me, but I didn't agree at that time. Instead, I installed a miniature camera on him and recorded everything they did these days. But these videos have all been sent to my mailbox through the internet. I have to go back and sort them out before I can send them to you. I guess you will be able to find the answer you want from them. Cathaway, you're really amazing. You're not a reporter, but a secret agent. Qin Haodong was very excited when he heard that there were videos. On the one hand, he didn't want to lose his physician's qualification certificate, and on the other hand, he didn't want Xiao Weiman to be implicated because of him. If he could get these videos, it would undoubtedly be the most powerful weapon when he fought back in the future. Cathaway looked at him and said, Then how are you going to thank me? Qin Haodong said with a smile, You won't ask me to marry you, will you? I've already promised to someone else, so I can't marry you anymore. Cathaway said with a smile, Well, I really wanted to make this request. Let me think about it again. I'll tell you when I've made up my mind. Qin Haodong said, Okay, you've helped me so much. As long as you make a request, I will definitely satisfy you. Sun Bowie said, Dr. Qin, with these videos, can we go to the capital to find Minister Xiao and expose the truth about Zhuo Bufan and the others? Qin Haodong shook his head and said, You're too naive. Zhao Meng and the others can confuse black and white, and the hidden power behind them is extremely terrible. Even if we take out these videos now, I'm afraid they will be treasured, and it's impossible for them to be made public. Sun Bowie said, Then what should we do? Why don't we just post it on the internet? Those people won't be able to suppress it even if they want to. Qin Haodong said, this matter is of great importance. If we directly post it on the internet, it will definitely cause great harm to the reputation of Huaxia. Don't worry, wait for a while. When the time is right, these videos will play a great role. Sun Fengqing sighed and said, Dr. Qin, I really admire your magnanimity and indifference. Mr. Sun, you must be joking. Seeing that they were about to reach the foot of the mountain, Qin Haodong asked, Mr. Sun, where are you going? Are you going back to the Medicine King Clinic? Sun Fengqing said, it's rare for me to come out. I don't want to go back for the time being. I'm going to M Country. Qin Haodong said in surprise, why do you suddenly want to go to M Country? Sun Fengqing said, I have a son and a daughter, but unfortunately, neither of them is interested in traditional Chinese medicine. They just like doing business. After graduating from college, both of them went to M Country, where the business is doing well. I thought that the inheritance of traditional Chinese medicine in the Medicine King family would be cut off in my hands. Fortunately, I had this grandson. He has some talent in medicine, but he's too proud. Sun Bowie said, Grandpa, I'm not arrogant. Dr. Qin is the medical sage. I can't compare with him, but compared with others, my medical skills are still very good. Sun Fengqing looked at his grandson with a doting smile and said, his parents have been in M Country. They called us many times to ask us to go there, but we never had time. Since I'm out this time, I'll go and have a look. I'm old now. If I don't go there now, I may not have a chance in the future. Cathaway said, Mr. Sun, let's go together. I'm also going to M Country. I can be your guide. Sun Fengqing said with a smile, of course. Neither of us is good at English. We can save a lot of trouble with you as our interpreter. Qin Haodong said to Cathaway, by the way, can you put this matter off for a while and wait for the final result to come out in a few days? Now that this matter was reported, it would be a scandal in Huaxia, which was naturally not what he wanted to see. Cathaway blinked her big eyes and said mischievously, well, since Qin Haodong has spoken, I'll listen to you. When she first met Qin Haodong, she was just curious. Later, after being saved twice, she had a good impression of this handsome young man. After arriving at the foot of the mountain, the five of them divided into two groups. The Sun family and Cathaway went straight to the airport, ready to fly to M Country. Qin Haodong found a place with no one around. The two of them directly stepped on the flying sword and flew straight in the direction of Myanmar. Some time ago, he had invested in building a jade mine there. After it was put into production, he had never been there. Now it was a good time to go and have a look. In the Jade Gang of Myanmar, Qin Haodong's jade mine had always been managed by Lu Hongquan, the leader of the Jade Gang. Although Qin Haodong had never come to visit him during this period of time, he was in awe of this young man and did his best. He did not dare to be careless at all. Today, he had just finished dealing with the affairs of the gang and was about to go to the jade mine. However, he found that Qin Haodong suddenly appeared in front of him with a smile. Mr. Qin, when did you come? Why didn't you call in advance? I could have sent someone to pick you up. Qin Haodong said, there's no need to make it so troublesome. I just brought my girlfriend here to have fun and have a look at the jade mine. Lu Hongquan said, Mr. Qin, I'm going to the jade mine. Let's go together. Qin Haodong nodded and got in Lu Hongquan's off-road vehicle with Su Hui. The three of them rushed to the jade mine together. Chapter 788. Qin Haodong inspected his jade mine. The jade reserves here were indeed astonishing, and the quality was excellent, not inferior to the old pit of Pakant at all. He chose a few places with the most abundant spiritual qi, and pointed them out to Lu Hongquan, telling him that they should focus on mining. Then he left the jade mine with Su Hui, and began to wander around the local area, enjoying the scenery and delicious food. In the evening, the two of them returned to the residence prepared by Lu Hongquan. Su Hui habitually took out her mobile phone, swiped it a few times and shouted angrily, Haodong, look, the shameless Zhuo Bufan is stealing your results. Qin Haodong looked at Su Hui's mobile phone and saw Zhuo Bufan in a suit and leather shoes, wearing glasses, looking like an expert. Sitting opposite him was a beautiful female host with short hair. She was Rose, the most famous host of Huaxia interview programs. She was doing a special interview with Zhuo Bufan. Rose asked, "Professor Zhuo, I heard that the virus recently discovered is the first one in the world. There was no effective medicine or vaccine before. Is that true?" Zhuo Bufan said, "Well, this virus has a strong infectivity and vitality. It has never been discovered before." Rose asked, "Since there has never been any record of this virus before, how did you overcome this difficulty?" Zhuo Bufan said, "I have to start with my experience. I once obtained a double bachelor's degree in country and have a deep understanding of viruses and internal medicine. As the saying goes, thick accumulation leads to thin growth. It is precisely because of these many years of deep accumulation that I have been able to achieve what I have today. This kind of virus is an insurmountable mountain for others, but it is not too difficult for me. Of course, this is not my own credit. I also have an excellent team behind my success. People like Dong Anna, Zhao Meng, and Guotao are all extremely rare young talents. They have helped me a lot in the process of virus research." Shameless. You're too shameless. Su Hui was originally an extremely quiet woman, but when she saw Zhuo Bufan's shameless face, she couldn't help swearing. She was so angry that she was about to turn off her phone, but Qin Haodong stopped her. Hui, there's no need to be angry with such people. The higher they stand, the harder they fall. The more arrogant they are, the harder they will be slapped in the face. Sooner or later, they will be humiliated. In the video, Rose asked again, "Professor Zhuo, what is the name of the special medicine developed by your excellent team?" Zhuo Bufan said, "Because the effect of this medicine is excellent, we gave it a resounding name, Super Antivirus Capsule." Rose asked, "You said that the effect of this medicine is quite good. How good is it? Can you let everyone have a direct experience?" Zhuo Bufan said, "Half an hour. Anyone infected with this virus will only need half an hour to recover after taking our Super Antivirus Capsule. There will be no difference from before the infection, and there will be no side effects." This time, Huaxia had made a lot of publicity for this matter. The interview lasted for a full 10 minutes, followed by an interview with Zhao Meng, Guotao, and Dong Anna. As for Yi Liang and Wang Aimin, they were also left out. After the video ended, Su Hui angrily turned off her phone and cursed again. Shameless. At this time, Qin Haodong's cell phone rang. It was Cathaway. "Dear Qin, I have arrived in country. Have you seen the video on the internet just now?" Qin Haodong said, "I just finished." "Qin, these people stole your fruits of labor. I just took a brief look at the video I collected. These people stole the prescription of the Sambao blood cleansing pill from Mr. Sun, ground it into powder, and then made it into a capsule. It's the Super Antivirus Capsule they mentioned. It's really shameless." "Oh, I see." Only then did Qin Haodong understand why these people had the confidence to kick him out. It turned out that they had secretly obtained the prescription of the Sambao blood cleansing pill. But so what? His Sambao blood cleansing pill was not something that anyone could refine. "Cathaway, send me a copy of the video." "Qin, I've already sent it to your mailbox." "Well, I'll take a look first. Let's talk when I have time." As Qin Haodong spoke, he found a laptop, opened his mailbox, and retrieved the video file sent by Cathaway. The file was very large, and it almost recorded what they had done in Wangshan village these days. Qin Haodong adjusted the speed of playing the file to the fastest. With his powerful spirit, it did not seem to be difficult for him. When Zhuo Bufan and the others plotted to steal the blood revival pill, and then reverse the truth through their relationship, he slowed down the video and slowly listened to their conversation. After watching the whole video, he basically understood the cause and effect of this matter clearly. Su Hui said angrily, "How can there be such shameless people in this world? They stole your things, and then turned around to slander you. You even lost your physician's qualification certificate." Qin Haodong looked indifferent. In this world, the truth can't be fake, and the falsehood can't be real. Believe me, they won't be proud for long. After that, He took his mobile phone and told Lin Momo and the others that he was safe. He told them that he had something to ask Su Hui, and then directly turned off his phone. Su Hui asked in surprise, "What are you doing?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "I guess there will be more people looking for me in a few days. Turn off the phone. Let's have a good time together." As he spoke, he raised his hand and set up a few restrictions in the room. Then he picked Su Hui up and walked to the big bed in the inner room. They haven't had a chance to share a bed for many days. Now the chance is here. In the tent in front of the government of Wangshan village, Zhuo Bufan and the others finished recording the interview and began to celebrate. After Qin Haodong left, the infected people who had been treated by him also recovered and went home. Li Laozhen took the 5 villagers who stayed behind to live in the empty isolation room. Wang Aimin and Yi Liying had been transferred back to the capital. Only Zhuo Bufan, Dong Anna, Zhao Meng, and Guotao were left in the original 10-person expert group. In their opinion, the rest had become extremely simple. They only needed to pick the peaches. There was no need for others at all. Zhuo Bufan's face was red, and he was in high spirits. He raised the wine glass in his hand and said, "Everyone, our success today is due to everyone's efforts. Let's drink to our victory." The few of them cheered loudly and drained their cups of wine in one gulp. Zhao Meng put down his wine glass and said excitedly, "With this credit, after we return to the capital, our official careers will definitely be smooth sailing. No one can stop us." Dong Anna said, "When we go back, we will apply for a patent for this super antivirus capsule. Everyone will be rich. At that time, we will also buy a private plane. It must be 10 times better than that guy's." Although he had driven Qin Haodong away, this guy still took it to heart. The more they talked, the more excited they became. They raised their glasses again and toasted, as if the dream of promotion and wealth was already within reach. Not far from Oxhorn village, there was a small village, but it already belonged to Myanmar. In a house in the east of the village, a white man in his 50s was sitting on the sofa. He was wearing gold-rimmed glasses and was leisurely tasting the red wine in his glass. Opposite him, a man in black stood with his hands down. The white man asked, "Cassiano, how is it going in Huaxia?" The man in black said, "Professor Jin's just this morning. That guy surnamed Qin cured the infected person. But for some reason, he has been expelled from the expert group by the Huaxia government. Now there are only a few useless people left in Wangshan village who don't know anything. Qin Haodong is really troublesome. It took me a long time to develop this zombie virus. After countless experiments, there was almost no cure. I didn't expect this guy to be able to cure it. I really don't know how he did it." Cassiano said, "Professor Jins, there's one thing I don't quite understand. Since you want to spread this virus in Huaxia, why didn't you choose a crowded big city? Instead, you chose such a remote mountain village." Jin said, "You're a combatant, so you don't know much about viruses. Although the zombie virus I developed is powerful, the conditions are very strict. It can only survive on the body of a bat. The bat that bit Nyo Erwa was specially trained by me, so it carried this zombie virus. It's not that I don't want to go to a crowded big city, but bats live in the mountains. If I take the trained bats to a big city alone, it will soon arouse the Huaxia government's vigilance." Cassiano nodded and said, "Professor Jins, what should we do now?" Jins took another sip of red wine. After a moment of silence, he said, "Qin Haodong cured my zombie virus, but I don't know what method he used and whether it can be mass-produced. So we have to make some trouble for Huaxia and see if there are any defects in his treatment method." As he spoke, he took out a small transparent bottle from his pocket, which contained pink powder. "Take this with you and give it to the 2 infected people." "Got it, Professor. I'll do it now." After that, Cassiano left with the small bottle. After Zhuo Bufan and the others celebrated in front of the Wangshan village government, he went back to his tent alone. Dong Anna even left Guotao and Zhao Meng behind. The 3 of them played a threesome. Just as they were having fun, a black shadow appeared in the courtyard. It was Cassiano, who had just been in Burma. Hearing the voice coming from the tent, Cassiano sneered and said, "These Huaxia people are really good at playing. Then I'll let you have a good time. After that, he went to the front of the isolation room like a ghost and found the detention room of Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang. He took out the small transparent bottle from his pocket. According to Jin's instructions, he divided the powder into 2 halves and sprinkled it on Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang. Originally, Liu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang were as dull as wooden stakes, but when they smelled the pink powder, their eyes instantly turned red, and they let out an earth-shattering roar. Niu Erwa suddenly exerted force with his arms. With a crack, he broke the steel handcuffs on his hands into 2 pieces, and then the shackles on his feet were also torn into 2 pieces. Zhang Dazhuang, who was next to him, was no exception. It was as if he had suddenly become extremely powerful. The steel handcuffs and shackles could not bind them at all. Seeing that he had succeeded, Cassiano smiled again and disappeared from where he was. With the experience from last time, Li Laozhen and the others immediately realized that something was wrong when they heard the roars of Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang. They came out of the room next door with wooden sticks in their hands to check the situation. As soon as they arrived at the yard, they heard 2 loud bangs. Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang broke through the wall of the isolation room at the same time and rushed out. The 2 of them were like zombies who had broken through the shackles, roaring at the moon in the sky. Chapter 789. These 2 guys ran out again. Hurry up and catch them. Li Laozhen was the last to rush out, but he was holding a net gun in his hand. After the previous 2 incidents, this was specially equipped for him by the county government. After that, he pulled the trigger at Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang respectively. After 2 gunshots, 2 specially made large nets covered Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang. Seeing that the 2 people were trapped, Li Laozhen and the others breathed a sigh of relief. But before they could go forward to tie them up, Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang let out a roar. They grabbed the big net with their hands and gently pulled it. The 2 nets, which were originally extremely tough, were immediately torn apart like pieces of paper. Li Laozhen was shocked. These 2 guys seemed to be more than twice as powerful as before. Niu Erwa seemed to have felt that the big net just now was made by Li Laozhen. His eyes flashed with red light, and he suddenly pounced on him. Help, Dr. Qin, hurry up and save me. Feeling the danger, the first person Li Laozhen thought of was Qin Haodong. In the past 2 crises, it was Qin Haodong who subdued the raging monster, so he instinctively called for help from Qin Haodong. However, Qin Haodong had already been expelled from the expert group. No one would come to save him. Instead, 2 villagers who were on good terms with him rushed up and waved their wooden sticks at Niu Erwa. Niu Erwa waved his 2 big hands with black hair and gently grabbed both sides. The wooden stick, which was as thick as a bowl, was broken into 2 pieces like a hemp stick. Seeing that this guy was so fierce, the 2 villagers quickly turned around and ran away. Fortunately, Niu Erwa's eyes flashed with red light. He didn't seem to be interested in these people. He turned around and rushed to the tent where Dong Anna and the others were. Zhang Dazhuang, who was next to him, did the same. He quickly jumped to the tent, because there was a bloody smell that made them go crazy. Ever since they went up the mountain, Dong Anna had been unhappy. The first time she made an appointment with Guatao, she attracted a leopard. The second time, Niu Erwa broke through the wall, causing them to give up halfway. Today she had held back all her energy. She had to have a good time. Guatao and Zhao Meng went into battle together. The 3 of them were having a great time in the tent. They didn't care about the shouts of Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang. After all, when the police put handcuffs and shackles on the 2 of them, they saw clearly that they were made of stainless steel. Even an elephant couldn't break free. But just when they were enjoying themselves, the tent was suddenly torn open from the outside. And then Niu Erwa's blood-red eyes were exposed in front of the 3 of them. Not good, they're coming out again. A few of them shouted, jumped up from the ground and ran. Although Dong Anna was a woman, her reaction speed was extremely fast. She immediately rushed toward the entrance of the tent. In the past few times she had encountered danger, she had relied on her agile reaction to avoid danger. But this time her good luck had obviously run out. Just as she ran to the entrance of the tent, she bumped into Zhang Dazhuang, who had rushed in. Ah, Qin Haodong, help. At this critical moment, she also thought of Qin Haodong. In the past, when a crisis broke out, only Qin Haodong could subdue these two monsters. Unfortunately, she had brought this upon herself. Qin Haodong had been driven away by her in every possible way. Zhang Dazhuang was already close at hand. It was too late for her to turn back and escape. She saw a big hand covered with black hair penetrate her chest with a bang, and then she lost consciousness. Seeing that Dong Anna was dead, Guotao and Zhao Meng were scared out of their wits. They immediately rushed out from both sides of the tent. In contrast, Guotao's luck was a little worse. Niu Erwa scratched his back, leaving a bright red mark. Fortunately, Niu Erwa did not chase after him. Attracted by the smell of blood, he also rushed toward Dong Anna, who was lying in a pool of blood. Although the others saw the tragedy happen, no one dared to come forward to stop it. After all, these two guys were too fierce, and they couldn't subdue them at all. After biting Dong Anna's body for a while, Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang jumped out of the tent and rushed into the forest. Seeing that the two guys had left, the people hiding in various corners crawled out of their hiding places. Li Laozhen, who was in a panic, immediately took out his mobile phone and urgently reported what had happened here to the county leaders, asking them to send armed police to arrest Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang, who had escaped. Zhuo Bufan, Zhao Meng and Guotao walked to the front of the tent. When they saw Dong Anna, who was badly mutilated, they couldn't help retching. At the same time, they were secretly glad that they hadn't been caught by the monster. But at this moment, Guotao's vision went black, and then he fell to the ground with a plop. The wound that Niu Erwa had scratched was infected. Zhuo Bufan hurriedly shouted to Zhao Meng, "Where's the medicine? Hurry up and get our super antiviral capsule." Zhao Meng answered and rushed into their tent. He took out a bottle of medicine and rushed out. This was the Sambao blood cleansing pill that they had found a famous old Chinese medicine practitioner to make today. And then they poured it into this kind of capsule. They clearly saw the process of Qin Haodong saving Guotao. Zhao Meng opened Guotao's mouth and poured the capsule into his mouth. After that, everyone gathered around Guotao and waited for him to wake up. When Qin Haodong treated the villagers last time, the most seriously ill infected person recovered in half an hour at most. Because Sun Bowie had been infected for a short time, it only took him more than 10 minutes to recover. Because of this, they felt that Guotao would not need too much time. But 10 minutes passed, 20 minutes passed, and Guotao still did not respond. Zhuo Bufan looked at Zhao Meng. "What's going on?" Zhao Meng he licked his lips and said, "Don't worry, there's no problem with our medicine. He will wake up in half an hour." However, as time passed, 40 minutes had passed, and Guotao still showed no signs of waking up. Zhuo Bufan grabbed Zhao Meng's collar and said with blood-red eyes, "Didn't you promise me that this is the prescription that Qin Haodong used? Why isn't this medicine working?" Everything they had done seemed to have achieved unprecedented success, but the final cornerstone was still the prescription in their hands. If they could continue to cure the zombie virus, nothing would happen, and everyone would be happy. Once they were helpless against the zombie virus, what awaited them would be eternal damnation. Zhao Meng said, "Director, I don't know what's going on either. This is indeed the prescription I got from Old Sun, and it was written by Qin Haodong himself. Then why didn't it work?" Zhao Meng thought for a moment and said, "It may be that Guotao's physique is special. After all, every medicine is not 100% effective on people. Maybe it's just ineffective on him." Zhuo Bufan thought for a moment and felt that what Zhao Meng said made sense. But now Guotao had fallen here. With his family background, if he could not cure him, the consequences would be extremely serious. At this moment, the cell phone in Li Laogan's hand rang. 2 minutes later, he hung up the phone with a heavy expression and said eagerly to Zhuo Bufan, "Mr. Zhuo, the county government just called. After Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang escaped from us, they went directly to Duwang village, which is not far away. There they bit and scratched 18 villagers in succession, and then they were killed by the armed police who arrived. Now the 18 villagers have been infected with the zombie virus and are in a high fever coma. Please lead the expert team to treat them immediately. Okay. Okay. Zhuo Bufan agreed hesitantly. He was no longer as high-spirited as he was in the interview program on TV. At this time, he did not know if this medicine would work on other people. If he could successfully treat the 18 injured villagers, even if he could not cure Guitao, it would be a special situation. But if he could not treat these 18 people, the consequences would be unimaginable. The situation was urgent. Li Laojin directly called a few strong villagers to escort Zhuo Bufan and Zhao Meng to the nearby Dawang village overnight with flashlights. Fortunately, Dawang village was not too far from the township government, about 1 kilometer. 2 hours later, they walked into the village together. There were broken walls everywhere. It could be seen that Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang had caused a lot of damage here. After entering the village, Li Laojin took them to the village office of Dawang village. At this time, the place was completely under the control of the armed police. After explaining their identities, they walked in. On a large brick bed in the village office, 18 infected villagers were lying side by side. The village chief of Dawang village was a skinny old man in his 60s. When he saw Mr. Li, he immediately came up to him and said, "Village chief, this time our Dawang village is in trouble. Please ask the experts to save us injured villagers." Li Laojin said, "Old Wang, don't worry. The experts are here." After that, he turned to Zhuo Bufan and said, "Mr. Zhuo, hurry up and save them." He looked at Zhuo Bufan with cold and sarcastic eyes. As a frontline worker, he knew very well who had saved the previous infected people. But as a small village chief, his words carried little weight, and he could do nothing about the decision made by the higher-ups. Zhuo Bufan gritted his teeth and went to the big brick bed with Zhao Meng. They poured the super antivirus capsules they had brought into the 18 villagers one by one. After taking the medicine, all that was left was to wait. As time went by, the infected villagers did not respond at all. Zhuo Bufan and Zhao Meng's hearts gradually sank to the bottom. An hour later, the super antivirus capsules they had made did not have any effect. The infected villagers were still in a coma and feverish state. Li Laojin glared at Zhuo Bufan fiercely, and then went out with his mobile phone to report the truth to the higher-ups. He did not dare to hide such a big thing. At 4 o'clock in the morning, the whole capital was in the darkness before dawn, but the meeting room of the Ministry of Health was brightly lit. The higher-ups of the Ministry of Health were all gathered here for a meeting. Gao Haiming, the minister of the Ministry of Health, was sitting in the middle. At this time, his face was extremely gloomy. He had thought that the zombie virus had been successfully solved this time. But he did not expect that as soon as he reported this matter to the whole of Huaxia, such a big thing would happen. It was several times more serious than before. The other senior members sitting around were all baffled. They didn't know why the minister had summoned them here for a meeting in the middle of the night. But one thing was certain. Something big must have happened. Xiao Weiman was sitting at the end of the meeting room. Although he did not know what had happened, he had a hunch that since Gao Haiming was so nervous, it must have something to do with the zombie virus in Wangshan village. Sure enough, after everyone arrived, Gao Haiming said with a gloomy expression, "Everyone, just now there was another major accident in Wangshan village in Yundian province. Please see the facts from the Department of Sanity of Yundian province for details." After that, he asked the secretary to turn on the projector and project a fax report on the big screen. Everyone looked in the direction of the projection. Chapter 790. There were not many words on the fax report, and the content was very concise. At about 4:40 a.m. today, Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang, who were infected in Wangshan village, suddenly went berserk and broke the handcuffs and shackles, causing the expert on the scene, Dong Anna, to die on the spot. After that, the two of them rushed into the nearby Dawang village and injured many villagers. They have now been killed by the armed police who arrived. However, the 18 villagers who were bitten have all been infected with the zombie virus. After reading the fax report, everyone present took a deep breath. No wonder Gao Haiming called them for a meeting in the middle of the night. The situation was too serious. At first, only one Neo Erwal was infected, but it had already caused such a serious loss. If the 18 villagers couldn't get effective treatment and all turned into zombies, the consequences would be unimaginable. A single spark could start a prairie fire. If these viruses were not effectively controlled, it would endanger the entire Huaxia, and even the entire human race. Seeing that everyone had finished reading the facts report, Gao Haiming said, "Everyone, as you can see, this emergency is very serious, and it has become a severe test for our health care system." Sitting next to Gao Haiming was Zhang Lianqi, the new first deputy minister of the Ministry of Health. He had just taken over Xiao Weiman's position yesterday. He said, "Minister Gao, this matter seems very serious, but it's actually very simple to deal with. The reason why such a serious situation occurred is because we do not have a deep understanding of the second stage of the disease, which led to the inadequate isolation facilities. That is why such a tragedy occurred. But it doesn't matter now. 2 patients in the second stage have been killed, and the remaining 18 infected people are in the early stage. As long as Zhuo Bufan's expert group can cure them all, the problem will be solved." The others around him nodded and felt that what Zhang Lianqi said made sense. As senior officials of the Ministry of Health, it was impossible for them not to have seen Zhuo Bufan's special interview. They knew that this well-known expert invited back by M country had developed a super antivirus capsule, which had special effects on the initial state of the zombie virus. Unexpectedly, Gao Haiming still shook his head with a heavy expression. "I have something to report to you. Just now, Zhuo Bufan has treated the injured villagers. Unfortunately, the super antivirus capsule in his hand has lost its effect, and the treatment has no effect." This matter was rather unexpected to him, and also a heavy blow to him. What? How could this be? Super effective medicine? Why did it fail? That's impossible. In yesterday's interview, he said that it was 100% effective against this zombie virus. Why did it suddenly stop working? Everyone was extremely shocked. If Zhuo Bufan's medicine lost its effect, they would only have 3 days left. According to the process of Neo Erwa's illness in the past, all 18 patients would enter the second stage of madness in 3 days. At that time, it would be difficult to control. Zhang Lianqi said, "Minister Gao, how could this be? Didn't Zhuo Bufan and the others just cure all the infected villagers yesterday? Why did the medicine lose its effect so quickly? Could it be that the virus has mutated again?" The higher-ups next to him felt that Zhang Lianqi's speculation was reasonable. Viruses would always mutate, but such a big mutation in such a short period of time would bring extremely heavy pressure to future treatment and prevention. Gao Haiming said, "The specific reason is still unclear." As he was speaking, the secretary hurriedly walked in from outside. "Minister Gao, the Chinese Government Affairs Council just called. Let me see the video of the trending topic." Gao Haiming was stunned. At this time, the higher-ups of the Government Affairs Council called and asked him to watch a video. There must be an extraordinary meaning in it. He said to the secretary, "Since it's an order from the Government Affairs Council, play it on the big screen and let everyone have a look." Okay. The secretary agreed and then skillfully operated on the projector. Soon, the picture appeared on the big screen. This video happened in the observation room of Wangshan village. It was the process of Zhuo Bufan, Zhao Meng, and the others treating Zhang Dazhuang. The effect of the video was very good, and the sound was also very clear. It could be seen that the recording equipment was very advanced. After bragging for a while, Zhuo Bufan injected the pink liquid into Zhang Dazhuang's body. Soon, Zhang Dazhuang woke up from his deep sleep, but he was not cured. Instead, he went crazy. Then the video began to shake violently, and the people in the isolation room fled in all directions. Seeing this, Gao Haiming suddenly stood up from his seat, and then sat down dejectedly. Although he had signed and approved the previous documents, the contents were directly reported to him by Zhao Meng and Zhuo Bufan. At the same time, the materials from the Biological Research Institute and the Microbiology Research Center had also provided sufficient proof. But now it seemed that things were not like that. At least this patient named Zhang Dazhuang went crazy because of Zhuo Bufan's wrong treatment. Not only him, but everyone also had doubts in their hearts. Didn't they say that Zhang Dazhuang went crazy because of Qin Haodong's wrong treatment? Why was it completely different from the video in front of them? The picture on the big screen changed, and the second video appeared. In the picture, Qin Haodong fed the Sambao blood-cleansing pill into the mouth of an infected patient, and then the video entered a fast-forward state. According to the time shown on the screen, after 25 minutes, the patient sat up from the bed and completely returned to normal. This is a little wrong. Didn't they say that Zhuo Bufan treated these infected people? Why is it this young doctor in front of us? I know this young man. He is Qin Haodong, the doctor whose medical qualification certificate has been revoked. It seems that the actual situation is different from what we reported. Seeing this, many people glanced at Gao Haiming in confusion. It was obvious that the previous decision of the Ministry of Health was wrong. Gao Haiming's face became more and more gloomy. He knew that he had been completely deceived by Zhao Meng and the others. The screen changed again, and the third video appeared. This was the part where Zhuo Bufan led Zhao Meng and the others to discuss how to distort the truth and frame Qin Haodong. After listening to the conversation of the three people, Gao Haiming slapped the table. His face turned green with anger. He didn't expect that his nephew didn't tell him the truth. The whole thing was inverted. It was Zhuo Bufan who caused Zhang Dazhuang to relapse, and it was Qin Haodong who really cured the zombie virus. Soon the video was finished. Although it was only 7 or 8 minutes, the truth of the whole incident was clearly expressed. After watching it, no one said anything and looked at Gao Haiming together. Gao Haiming sighed. At this moment, he seemed to have aged dozens of years. He had always worked hard for the health cause, was honest and self-disciplined, and had a strong sense of justice. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked Zhao Meng not to tell others that he was his uncle. He didn't want his nephew to enjoy some privileges because of his relationship with him. Because of this, when he heard those facts made up by Zhao Meng, he was so angry that he almost exploded. So he revoked all the honorary titles of Qin Haodong and his medical qualification certificate. In his opinion, such a person was not worthy of being a doctor at all. But he didn't expect that all this was a scam, made up by his good nephew. For a moment, the whole meeting room fell silent. After a long time, Gao Haiming sighed again and said to Xiao Weiman, "Old Xiao, I was wrong this time. I thought you were nepotism, but I didn't expect that I was deceived." Xiao Weiman said, "Minister Gao, the other things are trivial. Now the most important thing is to invite Dr. Qin back to cure the infected villagers in Wangshan village." "You're right. Since I made a mistake, I should face it." After saying that, Gao Haiming said to the secretary beside him, "I'll say it. Write it down and do it immediately. First, publish my personal letter of apology to Dr. Qin on the internet and other media. I made such a big mistake because I was too gullible." After he said this, Xiao Weiman and the others all admired him. It was easy to say that he would correct his mistakes, but not many people could really do it. Gao Haiming continued. Second, issue a notice in the name of the Ministry of Health to correct the previous mistakes. We have decided to restore the title of National Master of Chinese Medicine and his medical qualification certificate. Third, revoke all the honorary titles given to Zhuo Bufan and take back all the bonuses. At the same time, reward Dr. Qin for his previous excellent performance. In addition to the 1 million yuan bonus given by the Ministry of Health, I will personally take out another 100,000 yuan as a subsidy. After saying this, he turned to Xiao Weiman and said, "Minister Xiao, I made a wrong decision before. You are the most suitable person to be in charge of medical treatment. From now on, you can take office again." Xiao Weiman said, "Don't worry, Minister Gao. I will definitely do this job well. I still need you to do more work for Dr. Qin. No matter what, you must let him help Wangshan village get through this." Xiao Weiman said, "Dr. Qin is broad-minded. He is a rare good doctor who works for the country and the people. I believe he will not mind." Gao Haiming sighed and said, I misjudged him and misunderstood such a good doctor. Now I will go to the Government Affairs Council and confess my mistake to the higher-ups. I will wait for the punishment. Xiao Weiman said, Minister Gao, everyone makes mistakes. Besides, you were deceived. This reminded Gao Haiming. He said to the secretary behind him, Zhuo Bufan, Zhao Meng, Guo Tao, and Dong Anna made up the truth and framed Dr. Qin Haodong. Now it has caused serious consequences. Dong Anna is dead, but the other three will be handed over to the Public Security Department. They must be severely punished and will not be tolerated. I see, Minister. The secretary then said, Minister, what about these videos on the internet? Should we contact the publicity department to get rid of them? Gao Haiming shook his head and said, No, these are the truth. We should let the people of Huaxia know. This is respect for the truth, and also for Dr. Qin. He then said to Xiao Weiman, Minister Xiao, please take care of Wangshan village. I will go to the Government Affairs Council to admit my mistake now. An hour later, Gao Haiming's personal letter of apology and the public statement of the Ministry of Health of Huaxia appeared on the internet, and the truth was revealed. After these events, everyone knew that it was Qin Haodong who had cured the special infectious diseases in Yundian province. At the same time, the names of traditional Chinese medicine and medical sage were once again famous in Huaxia. In Europe and the United States, the results of her interview were also made public, so that people all over the world could see the magic of traditional Chinese medicine. After finding that their super antivirus capsule was ineffective, Zhuo Bufan and Zhao Meng had been living in panic until the police put cold handcuffs on their wrists. It could be said that they could not shirk the responsibility of Niu Erwa's death, Zhang Dazhuang's death, and Dong Anna's death, especially the 18 infected people who were still in a coma, were all caused by them. According to the crimes they had committed and the consequences, it was estimated that they would spend the rest of their lives in prison. Chapter 791. The next morning, Qin Haodong took Su Hui back to Huaxia from Myanmar and set foot on the path to Wangshan village again. They had just walked halfway when they saw the villagers in front of them beating gongs and drums to welcome them. After the incident in Dawang village, the whole Wangshan village lived in fear. They were afraid that one day zombies would rush into their village and turn them into such monsters. Now they finally heard that the medical sage, who could cure this strange disease, had returned to Wangshan village. Everyone was very happy. They beat gongs and drums to welcome Qin Haodong and Su Hui into the village like heroes. The 18 infected patients of Dawang village were all transported here. Due to the limited room, only 3 people could be placed in an isolation room. Qin Haodong felt the pulses of these people one by one. Their conditions had not changed. He took out the Sambao blood-cleansing pill and gave it to each of them. Half an hour later, these people woke up one by one. After professional blood tests, they were confirmed to be completely normal. Run, zombies are coming! The moment Guo Tao opened his eyes, his memory was still in fear. He jumped up and was about to run, but he found himself in the isolation room. Qin Haodong was standing in front of him, and there were 2 heavily armed policemen at the door. He looked around and didn't see Zhuo Bufan and Zhao Meng. He couldn't help feeling a little flustered and asked, What the hell is going on? Qin Haodong said with a smile, What you, Zhuo Bufan, Zhao Meng, and the others have done has been announced to the world. Now they are both waiting to reunite with you in prison. Hurry up and go with the police. At this time, the 2 policemen also came over. They took out the handcuffs around their waists and directly put Guo Tao's hands together. No, you can't arrest me, Guo Tao shouted crazily. He was here to gain experience, not to go to jail. But no matter how he shouted, it was useless. Although his family was a little snobbish, it was all within the scope of the Capital Biological Research Institute. Outside the institute, it was much worse. Moreover, this was Yundian province, which was beyond their reach. Moreover, this case was personally supervised by Gao Haiming, the Minister of Health. After knowing the truth, he directly sent Zhao Meng and Zhuo Bufan to prison. Now there was Guo Tao. If nothing unexpected happened, these 3 people would spend the rest of their lives in prison. All the patients infected with the zombie virus were completely cured. After so many days, the whole Wangshan village had completely returned to peace. When Qin Haodong walked out of the ward, Li Laozhen and the villagers present kowtowed to Qin Haodong to express their gratitude. As the representative of the Department of Sanity, Wang Zhonglin said to Qin Haodong, "Dr. Qin, the villagers of Wangshan village thank you, and so do the people of Yundian province." Qin Haodong said, "Get up, everyone. I'm a doctor. It's my duty to save people." Wang Zhonglin said, "Dr. Qin, please come with me. The conditions here are too poor. Let's go back and celebrate for you." Qin Haodong said, "Director Wang, it's not over yet. It's too early to celebrate." Wang Zhonglin said in surprise, "Dr. Qin, Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang are dead, and all the other patients infected with the virus have been cured. What else is there to deal with?" Qin Haodong said seriously, "Niu Erwa is dead, but the bat that bit him is still alive. If we don't get rid of the source of infection, it may bite other villagers one day, and then it will lead to more serious consequences." There was one thing he didn't say. The virus incident was a conspiracy. If the person behind the scenes was not caught, there would be no peace in Huaxia. Wang Zhonglin said, "What Dr. Qin said makes sense, but bats generally live in the deep mountains and forests. It's impossible to guard against them, let alone get rid of them." Qin Haodong said, "Director Wang, don't worry about this. I have my own way to deal with it. It won't be too late for us to celebrate after the source of infection is eradicated." "Dr. Qin, you are really far-sighted and noble. I'll wait for your good news." After that, Wang Zhonglin took his people back to the Department of Sanity to report. Qin Haodong and Su Hui stayed in Wangshan village. Hearing that Qin Haodong stayed here to get rid of the source of infection of the virus, Li Laozhen said, "Dr. Qin, if there's anything we need from the villagers of Wangshan village, just tell us. If you want money, we'll help you." Qin Haodong said, "We don't need anything else. We just need your tent for a few more days." Li Laozhen said, "Dr. Qin, how can we let you live in a tent? You and Dr. Su can live in my house. It's not far from here, about 2 or 3 miles away." Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, "Mr. Li, thank you, but we'd better live here." He didn't know where his opponent was hiding, so he didn't want to bring unnecessary trouble to these simple villagers. After Li Laozhen repeatedly invited them, he saw that Qin Haodong really didn't want to live in his house, so he could only give up. Seeing that it was lunchtime, the villagers all moved to the government office of Wangshan village to express their gratitude to Qin Haodong and Su Hui. During lunch, Qin Haodong said to Li Laozhen, "Mr. Li, where did Niu Erwa get injured?" Li Laozhen said, "It's on Savage Mountain behind Oxhorn village. He originally went up the mountain to hunt, but as soon as he returned to the village entrance, he fainted there. The villagers carried him home, and then he began to have fever and convulsions, and other symptoms of infection." "Just where did he go to Savage Mountain? Does everyone know that?" Li Laozhen said, "I don't know. After he came back, he had a high fever and was in a coma. He didn't say a word. After he woke up, he went crazy. No one knows where he went." Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, "Does anyone know where there are the most bats on Savage Mountain?" Li Laozhen said, "I know. There is a Black Dragon Cave behind Savage Mountain. There are the most bats in the Black Dragon Cave. No one can count how many there are. In short, when those animals fly out, they cover the sky and the sun. It's very scary." When he mentioned the bats in the Black Dragon Cave, he said worriedly, "Dr. Qin, I think we'd better forget it. The Black Dragon Cave is too dangerous. There are thousands of bats. I'm afraid you can't handle it alone." Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry, I have a way to deal with these things." Li Laozhen was still a little worried. "Dr. Qin, how about I choose a few people to go into the mountain with you?" "No, I can do it alone. It'll be troublesome if there are too many people." Qin Haodong had the protective aura qi, not to mention the bats. Even poisonous snakes and fierce beasts could not hurt him at all. If there were too many people, they would be a burden. "Well, Dr. Qin, I'll choose a few strong hunters to wait for you here. If there's anything, send me a message, and we'll go to rescue them immediately. Qin Haodong nodded. Although he definitely couldn't use them, he didn't want to waste Li Laogan's kindness. The people in the mountains were simple and hospitable. They drank from noon to sunset. In order to express their gratitude, these villagers toasted Qin Haodong one after another. If it weren't for his amazing alcohol tolerance, he would have been drunk long ago, let alone going into the mountain. In the evening, he left Su Hui in the tent, and then left the government of Wangshan village alone. He found a place where no one was around. Then he directly stepped on the flying sword and flew to Savage Mountain. Savage Mountain was very large. It was basically a small mountain range. He had to fly for half an hour on his flying sword before he circled the entire mountain. After exploring for a week, he came to the Black Dragon Cave, according to the direction Li Laojian had told him. The Black Dragon Cave was very big. It was 10 meters high and 7 or 8 meters wide. It was bottomless. After walking around, the cave was empty. There was a thick layer of bat droppings on the ground. It seemed that there were indeed a lot of bats here, but they had gone out to look for food at night, and had not come back yet. He couldn't wait here, so he began to wander in the mountain again. His spirit detected the bats that appeared from time to time, and picked some precious herbs. He was now very familiar with the zombie virus. When he scanned the bats with his spirit, he would immediately find out which one carried the virus. Unfortunately, he had seen thousands of bats, but none of them carried the virus. In the small village in Myanmar, Cassiano appeared in front of Dr. Jin's like a ghost. Doctor, that boy surnamed Qin is back. It only took him half an hour to cure all the infected villagers. Dr. Jin's was slightly surprised. So many people were cured in just half an hour. How did he do it? Cassiano said. He invented a kind of traditional Chinese medicine called the Sambao blood cleansing pill. After taking this medicine, all the infected people in the first stage can be cured within half an hour. Dr. Jins narrowed his eyes and said, It took me 10 years to cultivate the zombie virus. After thousands of experiments in the laboratory, I couldn't kill it. I thought there was no cure in the world. It's really unexpected that a Chinese medicine practitioner could kill my virus. After a pause, he asked again, Did Qin Haodong leave? Cassiano said again, He didn't leave. This guy seems to have found something. He continued to stay in Wangshan village, and said that he would leave after finding the source of the infection. Dr. Jin said with a gloomy face, This guy surnamed Qin is really annoying. No wonder the higher-ups regard him as a big problem. Cassiano said, Doctor, do you want me to kill him? You? Dr. Jin shook his head and said, A small team sent by the organization to the Hmong village in western Hunan was killed by Qin Haodong alone. Do you think you can defeat him? Cassiano's expression froze and he said, Then what should we do? Are we just going to watch the plan fail? Dr. Jin said, This virus experiment is just a small operation arranged by the organization. It's not a big deal at all. It doesn't matter whether we fail or not. But if we can kill Qin Haodong, it will be a great contribution. Cassiano said, But doctor, didn't you just say that this guy is very powerful? Dr. Jin smiled grimly, pointed to his head and said, Whether a person is powerful or not depends on his brain. If he only has force but no brain, he is doomed to fail in the end. Cassiano said, Doctor, what should we do? Dr. Jin said, Just do as I say. On the small square in front of the gate of Wangshan village, after the experts of the expert group left, it seemed a little empty and deserted. Only Su Hui lived in the huge tent. It was late at night, and the bright moon was hanging high in the sky. Qin Haodong hadn't come back yet. Su Hui felt bored alone, so she lay on the bed and was ready to sleep. At this moment, a figure flashed into the tent like a ghost. Su Hui was shocked to see this person. Just as she was about to open her mouth to call out, the man floated over like the wind. He raised his hand and chopped her carotid artery. Su Hui immediately fainted on the bed. The man chuckled and carried Su Hui out of the tent. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared into the night. The next 3 chapters are about the readers who sent red envelopes to other websites. Yachabana Meatball. Chapter 792. Savage Mountain. Because of the trees, the night looked darker here than outside. Suddenly, a melodious music rang out in the trees, startling the birds nearby to spread their wings and fly into the night sky. Qin Haodong took out his cell phone and saw a series of strange numbers on it. He pressed the answer button, and a stiff voice in Huaxia came from the other side. "Mr. Qin, you're really dedicated. You're still working in the mountain so late." Qin Haodong asked, "Who are you?" "My name is Dr. Jins. What do you mean by calling me?" Jins said, "Here's the thing. I developed the zombie virus. They're like my children. I don't want to see you hurt them. You made this crazy virus to harm the people of Huaxia. Not only will I destroy these viruses, but I will also hurt you." Jin said, "Mr. Qin, I don't think it's a good idea. I forgot to tell you that your beautiful wife is in our hands. If you insist on doing this, I'm afraid she'll be the first to be hurt. I've never seen such a beautiful Huaxia woman. I really can't bear to hurt her. So I hope you can come here as soon as possible, and let's have a good talk." "What? You kidnapped Su Hui?" Qin Haodong's voice was extremely cold in the darkness. On the other side of the phone, Jin seemed to be very satisfied with Qin Haodong's reaction. He said, "Mr. Qin, we just invited Miss Su to be our guest. If we can have a good talk, I'll let you take her back." Qin Haodong said, "Tell me where you are." Jin said, "There's a moon forest in Myanmar from Savage Mountain. I'll wait for you here." "Mr. Jins, I hope you can be faster. Although I have a good temper, my men are not. They're all rough and ungentlemanly. I'm afraid they won't be able to control themselves if they see Miss Su for a long time." Qin Haodong said fiercely, "If you dare to touch Su Hui, I'll send you to the 18th level of hell." After saying that, Qin Haodong hung up the phone and quickly disappeared into the night. The moon forest was what the locals called it because there was a very regular, round and moon-shaped clearing in the middle of the forest, hence the name. At this time, Su Hui was tied to a big tree at the edge of the forest, looking very anxious. Next to her stood Cassiano and 4 men in black. Jins looked at Su Hui and said, "Beautiful lady, don't look at me like that. As long as your man is sensible, he will bring you great benefits." Su Hui said, "Stop dreaming. Haodong won't conspire with you demons." Jin smiled and said, "Beautiful Huaxia woman, I don't think it's wise for you to do this. If you anger me, you'll suffer. Fortunately, I'm a gentleman and don't care about women." Su Hui seemed to realize that she was in a dangerous situation, so she closed her mouth and stopped talking. "That's more like it." Jins added, "But the night is long. It'll be boring if no one talks. Let's guess how long it will be before your man gets here." "There's no need to guess. I'm already here." A voice sounded behind Jins. It was Qin Haodong who had rushed over. Jins turned around, looked at Qin Haodong, and clapped his hands. The monotonous applause seemed very abrupt in the night. "Mr. Qin, you really value your wife very much. You came faster than we expected," Qin Haodong said. "Tell me, what will make you let Su Hui go?" With a faint smile on his face, Jin seemed to have the whole matter under control. "Well, Mr. Qin, we want to make a deal with you. As long as you join our organization, I will give you a large sum of money, which is more than you can spend in your lifetime. At the same time, we will also return Miss Su to you. Do you think this is a very good deal?" Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, "We're all smart people. Whether it's a good deal or not depends on how much you get, but also on how much you pay. I think before the deal, you should tell me what kind of organization you are, and what I need to do after joining." Jin said, "It's very simple. We're backed by Angel Pharmaceutical. The treatment of joining our company is very good, and you don't need to do anything. All you need to do is close Tangmen Pharmaceutical Company, and do nothing in the future. You only need to travel around the world with your beautiful wives, and receive a large sum of money every day. What do you think? Isn't it a good deal?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "I'm sorry, Mr. Jins. I have a problem. I can't stay idle, so I always have to do something." Jins said, "Mr. Qin, you can do something if you want. You'll get more rewards if you help Angel Pharmaceutical. Help you to harm the people of Huaxia? Do you think I'm a beast like you? Although Qin Haodong had been speaking very politely, Jin still felt the firmness in his tone. The smile on his face quickly disappeared, and he said with a gloomy expression, "Mr. Qin, do you mean there's no room for negotiation?" Of course there's no room for negotiation. There's a famous saying in Huaxia that people with different principles can't make plans together. Maybe you don't quite understand it, so I'll put it simply. I'm a human being, and you're beasts, so there's no possibility of cooperation between us. Jin said coldly, "Mr. Qin, I don't think it's smart of you to do this. Have you ever thought that Miss Su is still in our hands? I really can't bear to hurt such a beautiful woman. I think it's you who are not smart. How dare you kidnap my woman?" Qin Haodong did not show any impatience or worry. He said leisurely, "Angel Pharmaceutical has collected a lot of information about me. Didn't you find that all my women are ruthless? It's absolutely stupid to kidnap them." Hearing this, Jin's heart suddenly skipped a beat. As an old rival, they knew Qin Haodong's information very well. His women were indeed ruthless. The lowest cultivation was at the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm, and many had even reached the early stage of the Saint Realm. The reason why they kidnapped Su Hui was that they had done a very detailed investigation before. Su Hui was just an ordinary woman without any cultivation. She had entered the mountain on Qin Haodong's back. Thinking of this, he felt much more confident and said, "Qin Haodong, are you trying to scare me? In your Huaxia words, I'm not scared." "I'm not interested in scaring you." Qin Haodong sneered and said, "To be honest, you've given me a headache this time. Even if I find the bat carrying the virus, Huaxia will not be safe with you, the producer. If I want to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots, the best way is to trick you out. So I said all this is to make you show up, idiot. Otherwise, do you think I would leave Su Hui behind and run to the mountain alone?" Jin's looked calm on the surface, but his heart was already in turmoil. Today was a trap he had carefully set up. The purpose was to trick Qin Haodong here. It would be best if he could persuade him to surrender. If not, he would kill him directly. But he had never expected that he, as a hunter, would fall into the other party's trap. But he still had great doubts about whether what Qin Haodong said was true or not. He turned to Cassiano and said, "In this case, you can send Miss Su Hui to hell." "Okay, doctor." Cassiano agreed. A cold light flashed in his hand, and an extremely sharp dagger was stabbed at Su Hui's chest. But as soon as he stabbed with the dagger, he heard a bang, and the rope tied around Su Hui's body was instantly torn apart. A powerful momentum suddenly broke out with Su Hui as the center. Cassiano was hit by the wave of air, and took 7 or 8 steps back in succession. Before he could stand still, a fair hand had already grabbed his neck. Then he heard a crack, which was the last sound he heard in this world. Then he fell to the ground with a bang. The 4 men in black retreated 7 or 8 steps in succession, and reached for their guns in their arms. Su Hui just waved her sleeves gently, and the 4 men flew backward like kites with broken strings. They began to vomit mouthfuls of blood in the air, and when they landed on the ground, they were already dead. Qin Haodong looked at Dr. Jins and smiled. "Dr. Jins, do you believe me now?" This was indeed a trap he had set for Dr. Jins. When he was in Myanmar, he had already used the double cultivation initiation method to improve Su Hui's cultivation. But in order to find out the person behind the scenes, he asked Su Hui to pretend to be weak. In the end, Dr. Jins did fall into the trap. Dr. Jins adjusted the glasses on the bridge of his nose. "Qin Haodong, you are indeed smarter than I thought." After Su Hui killed those men, she came to Qin Haodong's side. Qin Haodong put his arm around her waist and said to Dr. Jins, "Dr. Jins, tell me everything you know, and I can consider sparing your life." Dr. Jins smiled and said, "Qin Haodong, do you think you will win? It's too early for you to be happy. The trap I set will not be so simple." After that he clapped his hands. For black shadows rushed out of the woods, and instantly surrounded Qin Haodong and Su Hui. These people were extremely fast, and their skills were not inferior to Su Hui's at all. Qin Haodong glanced at the 4 men in black. There was no aura of genuine qi flowing in their bodies, but they gave people a strong sense of oppression. This was not the first time he had encountered such a situation, so he was not surprised. He said to Dr. Jins lightly, "I didn't expect that the technology of the warrior's garment has been improved to such a high level. It's really rare that it can make the user's cultivation comparable to the 9th level of the supreme power realm." Dr. Jins said proudly, "Of course, this is the power of science and technology. I'm afraid that you so-called warriors can't reach this level in a lifetime. But we only need a piece of clothing, and only a few minutes to create a peerless master." "I don't think so," Qin Haodong said. "To achieve such a good effect, I guess you must have invested a lot of money on these clothes and paid a great price." "You're really smart," Dr. Jin said. "The value of each of the warrior's garment on the 4 of them is comparable to that of an aircraft carrier." "Tut tut tut." Qin Haodong clicked his tongue inside. It's a pity that they spent so much money on such expensive clothes, but they're just disposable items. Dr. Jins's expression changed. He did not expect that Qin Haodong would see the weakness of these clothes at once. These clothes were indeed expensive, and could only be used once, so their company had only produced 4 pieces so far. This time, they had brought all of them to Huaxia. Soon he calmed down and said, "So what? We can kill the medical sage of Huaxia, even if we sacrifice a few pieces of clothing. And let me tell you, our angel company is short of everything except money." Chapter 793. Qin Haodong continued. "It seems that you've sacrificed more than just the clothes. Although these people have undergone special training, their physical strength is far less than that of a 9th level Supreme Power Master. They can't withstand the power of the warrior's knitted garment at all, so they're also disposable." He was not lying, but it was obvious that these people in the warrior's knitted garment did not know this. There was a flash of fear in their eyes. Dr. Jins immediately saw through Qin Haodong's intention and shouted, "Don't listen to his nonsense. He's disturbing your minds." Although he saw through Qin Haodong's intention, it was too late. Although these people in the warrior's knitted garment had the power of a 9th level Supreme Power Master, they could not compare with a real 9th level Supreme Power Master in terms of combat experience or psychological quality. They did not know that life and death could be decided in a battle between masters. Just at the moment when they were lost in thought, the Xian Yuan sword in Qin Haodong's hand flashed a dazzling golden light in the night sky. It only took him one move to pierce the throats of the 4 people. The angel company was too powerful. It was very likely that the alien demon was hiding behind them, so Qin Haodong did not want to reveal his true strength. In this case, if he wanted to end the battle quickly, the strategy of attacking the enemy's mind was undoubtedly the best way. Obviously, he had achieved great success. Although each of the warrior's knitted garment worn by these people was worth as much as an aircraft carrier, they were killed in one go before they could play any role. Putting away the Xian Yuan sword, Qin Haodong looked at Dr. Jins and said, "There are some things that technology can't replace. The masters you created with these clothes only have the power of a 9th level Supreme Power Master. But they don't have the strength of a 9th level Supreme Power Master." "Bastard!" Dr. Jins was so angry that he gritted his teeth. These people had been carefully cultivated by the organization, and they had spent a lot of money on them. Now that they had been destroyed in one go, he would inevitably be punished by his superiors when he went back. "Qin Haodong, you and I are irreconcilable. Dr. Jins, do you still have the confidence to say that now?" Qin Haodong was not in a hurry to make a move. He wanted to see what other trump cards the opponent had not played. "Qin, let's see how long you can be proud." Dr. Jins shouted to the forest behind him, "Master Rossi, it's time for you to show up." After he shouted, 2 tall figures walked out of the forest step by step. Seeing these 2 people, Qin Haodong and Su Hui were both stunned. The 2 tall black shadows were the villagers of Oxhorn Village, Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang. However, the 2 of them were now completely lifeless and had become real zombies. There was another figure behind them. His entire body was wrapped in a black robe, making it impossible to see his face clearly. Qin Haodong cried in surprise, "Is this a necromancer?" Dr. Jin said proudly, "I have to say that you are quite knowledgeable. This is the necromancer Rossi. It's not too late for you to admit defeat now. Otherwise, you and your woman will become zombies. Qin Haodong said angrily, they're dead. How can you let their bodies die in peace? It doesn't matter if you're alive or dead. In my eyes, you're just a test subject. Dr. Jin said, Qin Haodong, as your opponent, I think it's necessary for me to tell you my research results. This zombie virus is divided into 3 stages. The first stage is when the infected person falls into a high fever coma, and the second stage is when the infected person wakes up and goes crazy. But this is not the end. The third stage is the most exciting. At this time, their bodies will expand rapidly, like a human-shaped bomb. As long as you break their bodies or gently touch them, they will explode with a bang. Don't underestimate them. Although the explosion won't cause any substantial harm to you, the zombie virus in their bodies will quickly spread within a radius of 100 miles. At that time, both the residents of Myanmar and Huaxia will be infected with this virus. Speaking of this, there was a flash of pride on his face. What do you think? My research results are very good, aren't they? In addition, I'll give you another piece of information. There are about 100,000 residents of Huaxia and Myanmar, within a radius of 100 miles. If all these people are infected with the virus, I'm afraid you won't be able to cure them even if you're known as the medical sage. In 3 days, these people will enter the second stage. I'm excited just thinking about it. Hearing this, Qin Haodong said angrily, You're a lunatic. Are you going to destroy all human beings? Dr. Jin shook his head and said, No, you're wrong. My zombie virus uses gene-targeted technology. It won't destroy all human beings. It will only destroy you, the hateful yellow-skinned monkeys, and those inferior black people. There are too many inferior races like you. There's no need for you to live in this world. This seemingly gentle Dr. Jin's was a racist. A cold light flashed in Qin Haodong's eyes. If he hadn't wanted to collect some information about Angel Pharmaceutical, he would have cut this crazy Dr. Jin's in half with his sword. As if reading his mind, Dr. Jin said, Qin Haodong, do you want to kill me? I'm telling you, don't act rashly. These 2 people have chips specially developed by me in their bodies. As long as my heart stops beating, they will explode immediately, so you can't kill me. You can't afford the consequences. After that, he smiled proudly. You're right. If that's the case, I really don't dare to kill you, but I can destroy you. After Qin Haodong said that, the Xian Yuan sword in his hand suddenly shot out. Before Dr. Jin's felt any pain, both of his arms fell to the ground. A heart-wrenching scream resounded in the night sky, causing countless birds to fly into the air. With a loud shout, Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang rushed at Qin Haodong together, waving their zombie-like big hands to grab his throat. Qin Haodong took Su Hui and dodged the attacks of these 2 people. After becoming zombies, although the agility of these 2 people had increased by dozens of times, they could barely reach the level of the first level of supreme power. It was impossible for them to hurt Qin Haodong. However, the difficulty was that he could only dodge, and did not dare to attack Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang. If what Dr. Jin said was true, after these 2 people exploded, he would become a sinner of Huaxia. While controlling the 2 zombies to attack Qin Haodong and Su Hui, necromancer Rossi was still chanting an obscure incantation. Streams of black qi rose in the night sky, and kept drifting toward Qin Haodong and Su Hui. In the place where the black qi gathered, the air seemed to become sticky, and the resistance became greater and greater, causing Qin Haodong and Su Hui to dodge slower and slower. However, Niu Erwa and Zhang Dazhuang were not affected at all. On the contrary, with the help of the black qi, their speed became faster, and their attack power became stronger and stronger. But even so, it couldn't make up for the gap between them and Qin Haodong. The battle lasted for a full hour. It was already dawn, but the 2 zombies still couldn't do anything to Qin Haodong. Similarly, Qin Haodong didn't dare to touch them. He had thought of killing necromancer Rossi directly with his flying sword, but he was afraid that the 2 zombies would also explode after killing Rossi, so he didn't dare to do anything. Since his reincarnation, he had never fought such a stupid battle. He could crush his opponent with his strength, but he couldn't do anything. However, it was obvious that Dr. Jin's was worse than him. Although he had used a special method to stop the bleeding on his shoulder, the pain of losing his arm was inevitable. Seeing that it didn't work after fighting for so long, he shouted to the field, "Stop fighting." After hearing his order, Necromancer Rossi immediately controlled Nyo Erwa and Zhang Dezhuang to stop. Dr. Jin shouted to Qin Haodong, "Qin, I've run out of patience. You either surrender now, or I'll detonate these two zombies." At that time, hundreds of thousands of people in Huaxia will die and become this kind of zombies. You'll be the sinner of Huaxia. He was originally threatening Qin Haodong, but Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. "Do you mean that these two people are already dead?" Dr. Jin said, "Of course. 3 days after being infected by the zombie virus is the first stage. After 3 days they enter the second stage. After 10 days, they will die and enter the third stage." He said this in order to intimidate Qin Haodong, so that he could force him to surrender and take revenge for himself. Unexpectedly, these words reminded Qin Haodong. He couldn't touch the bodies of Nyo Erwa and Zhang Dezhuang now, but he could put the lifeless things into the storage ring. The storage ring belonged to a separate space. No matter what went in, it would be cut off from the real world. Both the Jin's chip and the necromancer's magic would lose control of these two people. Thinking of this, he thought of something and saw that the bodies of Nyo Erwa and Zhang Dezhuang disappeared in an instant. Seeing this scene, Dr. Jin's was shocked. He didn't understand why his last trump card had disappeared just like that. "Surname Qin, you must have used some kind of camouflage. Are you trying to lie to me?" Seeing that the two zombies were put into the storage ring, Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief and sneered. "You think too much. I don't have time to play with you." After the two zombies disappeared, Necromancer Rossi was shocked. But no matter how hard he tried, he still couldn't get in touch with Nyo Erwa and Zhang Dezhuang. "There's no need to look for them. You'll meet them soon." Qin Haodong waved the Xian Yuan sword in his hand and directly cut Rossi in half. Naturally, he would not show any mercy to this kind of evil warlock who specialized in controlling the bodies and souls of the dead. He directly killed him with his sword. Seeing that Rossi was dead and he had lost his last trump card, Dr. Jin's eyes flashed with despair. At this moment, Qin Haodong came to his side in an instant and slapped him in the face. Dr. Jin's flew 7 or 8 meters away and spat out a mouthful of blood mixed with his teeth. One of his teeth was black, which was obviously poisonous. Just now, Qin Haodong saw that this guy wanted to commit suicide, so he knocked out his poisonous teeth. "Dr. Jin's, you can die if you want, but you have to tell me everything I want to know." Dr. Jin's gritted his teeth and said with a ferocious face, "Qin Haodong, although I was defeated by you this time, you can't get any information from me. Really? If you want to fight against me, you have to have the ability." Qin Haodong didn't want to talk nonsense with this guy. He directly used mind manipulating and asked, "Tell me, is the zombie virus spread by bats?" Dr. Jin's eyes flashed with confusion, and then he said obediently, "Yes, this virus can only survive in the bodies of bats, in addition to the human body." "Where are those bats? How many of them are there?" Dr. Jin said, "There are 2 of these special bats, which I specially bred. Now they are in the Black Dragon Cave of Savage Mountain, mixed with those bats." Chapter 794. Qin Haodong asked again, "What's the purpose of your angel group to create this virus?" Dr. Jin said, "I don't know the details. Anyway, we scientific researchers have received orders from our superiors to develop a virus that can kill humans on a large scale. The larger the number, the better. Whoever succeeds will get a lot of rewards from the organization." Qin Haodong frowned. It seemed that the alien demons must be behind the angel group. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given such a crazy order. "Why does the zombie virus you developed only target the yellow and black people with genetic targeting technology? Does it have anything to do with the order of your organization?" Dr. Jin said, "No, it's my personal decision. I'm a racist. Since I want to kill people, I will naturally choose the yellow and black people first." "How much of this virus do you have? Do you have any backups in the angel group?" Dr. Jin said, "No. I don't think there's any cure for this virus, so there's no need to keep any backups. Besides, this is my own research result. I want to get a lot of rewards after I succeed. Of course, I won't give it to anyone." Qin Haodong asked again, "Who's the president of the Angel Group? Is there anyone behind him?" Dr. Jin said, "I don't know. People like us who do scientific research are only responsible for our own projects. The superiors will give us some cooperation and help. For example, the necromancer was sent to me by the organization this time, but I've never seen or heard about the top leaders of the Angel Group. Have you joined any special organization, the kind that leaves tattoos on your body?" Dr. Jin said, "No, people like me pursue money and technology. I'm not interested in other religious organizations." Qin Haodong checked the two arms on the ground and his body. There were no traces of tattoos. "Tell me, where is the headquarters of the Angel Group?" "The headquarters is in M country." As soon as Dr. Jin said this, his face suddenly changed, and then his whole head exploded into a cloud of blood mist. At this moment, Qin Haodong had already retreated 7 or 8 meters with Su Hui. Looking at the horrible scene in front of her, Su Hui asked in surprise, "What's going on? Why did a normal person's head explode?" Qin Haodong said with a gloomy face, "I still underestimated those people. They even installed some kind of restriction in Dr. Jin's head. As long as he wants to say some hidden secrets, it will be triggered and self-detonated." Su Hui said with pity, "What kind of organization is the Angel Group? How can you be so cruel?" Qin Haodong said, "If I'm not mistaken, the alien demon must be behind them, and these people are just puppets." Su Hui said, "This kind of person is also crazy. He actually developed a terrible thing like the zombie virus for money." Qin Haodong said, "Now that Dr. Jin's is dead, there is no backup of his virus. What we have to do is to kill the 2 bats, and the crisis will be completely resolved." With that, he stepped onto the Xianyuan sword with Su Hui and flew towards the Black Dragon Cave on Savage Mountain. When they arrived at the entrance of the cave, they chose a suitable spot and sat down. It was already close to dawn, the night was gradually fading, and the east was getting brighter. As the sun rose, countless bats flew back. Generally speaking, bats rarely attack people. When they saw Qin Haodong and Su Hui, 2 of them immediately rushed over and opened their mouths to bite their necks. "Damn beasts, I was just looking for you." After that, Qin Haodong's hand flashed with golden light, and the Xianyuan sword directly cut the 2 bats carrying the zombie virus in half. There were shiny chips under the wings of the 2 bats. They were the 2 bats that Dr. Jin's had cultivated. Qin Haodong took out the gasoline that he had prepared and poured it on the 2 bats. Then he lit a fire. It was safest to burn things that carried the virus. A few minutes later, the 2 bats had been completely burned to ashes. Qin Haodong dug another pit and buried the ashes. After the matter was settled, he did not return to Wangshan village, nor did he return to the Department of Sanity of Yundian Province to receive the award. He was not interested in these things at all. He directly took Su Hui on the plane to the capital. After returning to the capital, he first called Xiao Weiman and briefly told him what had happened in Wangshan village. However, he only said that the virus had been solved and did not mention anything about the Angel Group. It was useless to tell the Ministry of Health about such a special event. Then he called Xianyuan Legay again. This time, he mentioned the Angel Group. After giving a detailed introduction of the situation, he asked, "What kind of organization is this Angel Group? Where is their mastermind and headquarters?" Xianyuan Legay said, "We have also paid attention to the Angel Group before, but they are extremely secretive. The president who often appears in public is called Kirsten, but we suspect that he's just a puppet. The headquarters of the Angel Group is just a facade. The real headquarters must be hidden in an unknown place." Qin Haodong said, "Ask your people to pay more attention to the Angel Group in the future, but don't alert them." After the matter was settled, his life returned to normal. Every day, he would help Su Hui run her clinic and go to the Capital University of Traditional Chinese Medicine to give a few classes from time to time. Time passed quickly. 3 days later, Qin Haodong had just had a class when the cell phone in his pocket suddenly rang. It was Donnie Randall, the head of the deep web. Miss Randall, what can I do for you? Donnie Randall said, Jean, I have good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? The two of them didn't get to know each other without fighting, so they were quite close now. Jean Haodong said, Of course I want to hear the good news. Donnie Randall said with a smile, The good news is that you are going to be famous soon. Jean Haodong said, That's not good news. I was also very famous before. Donnie Randall said, It's different from before. Although you are very famous now, the title of medical sage is limited to Huaxia and the medical world. Your fame will soon spread throughout the underground world. Jean Haodong said, What's the bad news? The bad news is that you will face an unprecedented challenge, and you may lose your life. Jean Haodong knew that the girl was implying something, so he said, Just say it. Don't beat around the bush. Since you want to know, I'll tell you. Donnie Randall said, Have you heard of Zhang Wudi? Yes, he is a very great martial arts genius, but he is unruly, cruel, and bloodthirsty. Later, he was driven out of Huaxia by Master Hao Yu, and 2 of his disciples were killed by me. When he was in Jiangnan, Jean Haodong had killed Li Long and Li Hu in succession. However, Zhang Wudi had not done anything for such a long time, so he almost forgot about it. Donnie Randall said, Just now, Zhang Wudi issued a challenge to you through our deep web. He asked you to fight to the death on Tianju Peak of Kunlun Mountain in 3 days. Jean Haodong said, Is that the good news and bad news you want to tell me? Donnie Randall said with a smile, Yes, since Zhang Wudi sent you a letter of challenge. Your name is now well known in the underground world. You're indeed famous. The bad thing is that Zhang Wudi is too powerful, and no one is optimistic about you. If you dare to accept the challenge, you will probably die. Jean Haodong was not too surprised. He said lightly, It seems that you want to persuade me to refuse this challenge? Donnie Randall said, As the leader of the deep web, I shouldn't persuade you, but Zhang Wudi is too powerful. You have no chance of winning this challenge. From the perspective of a friend, I advise you not to accept it. Jean Haodong said, How powerful is he? Tell me. Although he had heard some legends about Zhang Wudi and Master Hao Yu before, those were just legends, and they were definitely not as accurate as the news on the deep web. Donnie Randall said, I just checked Zhang Wudi's information for you. He is indeed a rare martial arts genius in 100 years. In those days, he challenged the supreme power masters of various sects in Huaxia and killed countless people. In the end, he received the challenge from Master Hao Yu. The place of the challenge was Tianju Peak of Kunlun Mountain. In the end, Master Hao Yu won by a narrow margin and forced Zhang Wudi to make an oath that he would never set foot in Huaxia again. Jean Haodong said, Since the legend is true, then Zhang Wudi violated his oath by issuing a challenge to me on Tianju Peak of Kunlun Mountain. Donnie Randall said, In fact, Zhang Wudi's oath was that he was not allowed to step into Huaxia before he had the strength to defeat Master Hao Yu. Now he stepped into Kunlun Mountain again to challenge you, and at the same time, to declare war on Master Hao Yu. Whether you accept the challenge or not, I'm afraid that Master Hao Yu will also appear on Tianju Peak of Kunlun Mountain in 3 days. It will be another confrontation between the 2 martial arts geniuses. Master Hao Yu? Since he is going, I naturally can't miss it. Jean Haodong said, Tell Zhang Wudi that I'll accept the challenge. Donnie Randall said anxiously, Hey, you're too casual. You have to know that you're not Master Hao Yu. How can you fight with Zhang Wudi as a 9th-level Supreme Power Master? Jean Haodong was amused. It seemed that he had successfully hidden his cultivation. Even the leader of the Deep Network had successfully deceived him. He thought that he was only a 9th-level Supreme Power Master. He asked, What's Zhang Wudi's cultivation now? Donnie Randall said, The exact news we have is that Zhang Wudi reached the early stage of the Saint Realm 5 years ago. Half a year ago, he began to cultivate in seclusion to break through to the middle stage of the Saint Realm. He officially came out yesterday, but we don't know whether he succeeded or not. According to my guess, it's very likely that he succeeded. Otherwise, he wouldn't have set foot in Huaxia in such a high-profile manner. Speaking of this, She seemed to want to tell Qin Haodong more information. She continued, Zhang Wudi is indeed very powerful. When he first arrived overseas, he single-handedly conquered the Qin gang, killed the previous gang leader, and became the highest first elder of the Qin gang. He has accepted a lot of disciples in the Qin gang. There are about 100 of them. The brothers of the Li family that you killed are not even qualified to be his disciples. Now the leader of the Qin gang is his eldest disciple, Tong Taisheng. He has already reached the 9th level Supreme Power Realm. Several other disciples have also reached the 9th level Supreme Power Realm. It can be said that there are many masters in the Qin gang now, and they are very powerful. He is also the first person in Huaxia overseas. Although he hasn't fought for many years, he is still famous. That's why his challenge to you caused such a big sensation. Chapter 795. After listening to Donnie Randall's words, Qin Haodong was not nervous at all. Instead, he laughed. He did not care too much about Zhang Wudi's cultivation, which was only one level higher than his. If he was well prepared, it was not impossible for him to kill Zhang Wudi. Besides, he had Xianyuan Legay, who was also a master at the middle stage of the Saint Realm. As for the overseas Qin gang, those useless soldiers and crab generals are nothing. Any one of the masters of the Xianyuan Pavilion and his wives at the Saint Realm can wipe out the disciples of the Qin gang. He asked again, I'm a little curious. Why did Zhang Wudi challenge me through the deep web? If I didn't know you or the deep web, would his letter of challenge fail? Donnie Randall said, Of course not. Many masters challenge through our deep web, because we have an intelligence system all over the world. We can accurately send the letter of challenge to our opponents and save them a lot of trouble. At the same time, after the news of the challenge is announced on the deep web, it will cause a great sensation, which will help to enhance the challenger's reputation. Zhang Wudi challenged you through our deep web. It must be a high-profile announcement of his return to Huaxia. Qin Haodong said with a smile. It seems that he doesn't regard me as an opponent at all, but as a stepping stone for his return. Qin, you are really excellent. You have reached the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm at such a young age, much earlier than Zhang Wudi. As long as you develop steadily for a few more years, it will not be difficult for you to surpass Zhang Wudi. So I advise you to bear with it for now, and not accept the challenge for the time being. When your strength grows up, it will not be too late to challenge Zhang Wudi. Speaking of this, Donnie Randall's tone revealed a trace of anxiety that could not be concealed. Qin Haodong said with a smile, What will happen if I refuse the challenge? Donnie Randall said, Generally speaking, the letter of challenge issued through the deep web will be the first one on the home page. If the challenger refuses, he will become the laughingstock of the whole underground world. But you don't need to mind this, because you are not of the same generation as Zhang Wudi. You are a generation younger than him, so it doesn't matter if you refuse. Qin Haodong said with a smile, I can't do that. I cherish my reputation very much. If I am spurned, how can I find a girlfriend in the future? Donnie Randall said angrily, You pervert, don't you think there are too few women? Qin Haodong smiled and said, Well, I won't joke with you. As a man, I won't refuse Zhang Wudi's challenge. Tell him that I will go to Tianzhu Peak of Kunlun Mountain in 3 days. Donnie Randall sighed and said, Well, since you insist, I will go to Tianzhu Peak in 3 days. Donnie Randall said, Well, since you insist, I Randall. Shortly after he entered the house, the old butler Uncle Wang came over and said, Young master, there is a man named Cha Bumpkin at the door. He said he wants to see you. Cha Bumpkin from Koryo? A smile appeared at the corner of Qin Haodong's mouth. It seemed that these Koreans got the news quite fast. As soon as he accepted the challenge, they came to add insult to injury. Uncle Wang seemed to see that Qin Haodong didn't like this person. So he said, Do you want me to send someone to drive him away? No need. Ask him to meet me in the living room. Uncle Wang agreed and turned to go out. Qin Haodong stood up and was about to walk to the living room. Hu Xiaoxian said with a smile, I heard that all the men in Koryo are handsome. I'll go with you. Qin Haodong did not care. They went to the living room together. Not long after, a middle-aged man in a suit with a proud face came in. His cultivation had reached the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm. After entering the door, he glanced at Qin Haodong and Hu Xiaoxian sitting on the sofa, as if he was very dissatisfied that they did not stand up to greet him. He snorted and said, "Are you Qin Haodong?" Qin Haodong picked up a cup of tea on the table and took a sip. He looked up at him and said, "I am. What can I do for you?" The middle-aged man said arrogantly, "Let me tell you, my name is Cha Bumpkin. My teacher is Cha Taihang, the famous boxing saint of Koryo." After that, the arrogance on his face became even stronger. It seemed that Qin Haodong would be shocked if he revealed his and his teacher's names. But to his disappointment, Qin Haodong still slowly tasted the tea in the cup and asked, "Who you are doesn't mean anything to me. Just tell me why you are looking for me." A flash of anger flashed across Cha Bumpkin's face. This Huaxia man had heard his name, but he did not greet him or ask him to sit down. It was too rude. But thinking of his mission this time, he suppressed his anger and said, "I heard that you took in a woman named Kim Ji-hyun some time ago?" Qin Haodong said without hesitation, "Yes, she lives in my Tang sect now." Cha Bumpkin said, "She is from Koryo. She stole something from the boxing saint, and then ran to Huaxia. You must return this woman, and the things she stole to us." Qin Haodong sneered, and looked at Cha Bumpkin coldly. "Are you ordering me?" The smile on Hu Xiaoxian's face, who had been snuggling up to Qin Haodong, disappeared in an instant, and then a powerful momentum suddenly broke out. This momentum was so powerful that Cha Bumpkin took 6 or 7 steps back, and even breathing became extremely difficult. Fortunately, Hu Xiaoxian's momentum disappeared as soon as she released it, and soon she returned to her charming smile. Cha Bumpkin returned to normal, but the arrogance on his face had disappeared, and even the underwear on his back had been soaked in cold sweat. This woman was so powerful that her momentum was not inferior to his teacher, Cha Taihang. He was the first disciple of Cha Taihang, the boxing saint. In Koryo, he was second only to one person, and he had developed an extremely arrogant personality. Although Cha Taihang repeatedly told him to be careful when he arrived at the Tang sect, he did not take it seriously at all. He thought that with his cultivation, it was enough to destroy the entire martial arts world in the capital. After seeing Hu Xiaoxian's cultivation, he immediately restrained his arrogance and said, "Mr. Qin, I didn't use the right words just now, but I still hope that you can return Kim Ji-hyun to us." A disdainful smile appeared at the corner of Qin Haodong's mouth. In addition to robbing others' things, these people were also arrogant. It seemed that this guy in front of him was no exception. He said, "You and I both know what's going on. Since Cha Taihang wants to rob others' things, he doesn't need to be a bitch. He even needs to hang a memorial." Cha Bumpkin's expression suddenly changed. "Qin Haodong, how dare you be disrespectful to the boxing saint?" Qin Haodong smiled disdainfully and said, "Let me tell you, Kim Ji-hyun is my friend. Cha Taihang is nothing to me. Sooner or later, I will get even with him." "Arrogant," Cha Bumpkin said. "Qin Haodong, now that John Woody has issued a letter of challenge to you, I'm afraid you won't live more than 3 days. How dare you talk big here? How long I can live has nothing to do with you. Get out of here." Cha Bumpkin said, "Qin Master Fist Sage is very sincere. As long as you hand over Kim Ji-hyun and return that thing to us, Master Fist Sage can consider fighting against Invincible King for you. He also agrees to give you 1 billion yuan as a reward." Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. The fact that Cha Taihang was willing to pay such a high price showed that the map was extremely precious. However, it was simply a fool to say that he would fight against John Woody for him. With Cha Taihang's cultivation at the early stage of the Saint Realm, he was afraid that he would stay away from John Woody as far as possible. He sneered and said, "Do you think Cha Taihang has the ability to fight against John Woody for me?" Cha Bumpkin cried, "Of course, the boxing saint is invincible in the world." Qin Haodong said, "In that case, ask Cha Taihang to kill John Woody. As long as he brings John Woody's head here, I will give him whatever he wants." Cha Bumpkin said, "Qin Haodong, don't be so ungrateful. Let me tell you, It's your honor to have the chance to fight against Zhang Wudi. If you anger Zhang Wudi, he will destroy your Tang sect. As soon as he finished speaking, Hu Shaoxian moved and appeared in front of him like a phantom. She raised her hand and slapped Cha Taihang in the face. Why are you dawdling? Didn't you hear my man asking you to get out? This slap was very powerful. Although Cha Bumpkin was a 9th level Supreme Power Master, he was still like a child in front of Hu Shaoxian. He had no ability to resist at all. He was directly knocked out of the living room and rolled more than 10 meters away. Half of his teeth were knocked out. Hu Shaoxian was still angry. I hate people like you who like to brag when you don't have the ability. If I meet you again, I will beat all your teeth out. Just wait and see. Zhang Wudi won't spare you. Cha Bumpkin's words were tough, but he did not dare to look at Hu Shaoxian again. He ran out of the Tang sect. After going out, he got into a black car, took out a towel to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth, and then took out his mobile phone to make a call. Teacher, I saw Qin Haodong. The person on the other side of the phone said. How's it going? Is he willing to give Kim Jihyun to us? Cha Bumpkin said. Teacher, Qin Haodong is too barbaric and arrogant. He doesn't take you seriously at all. Not only does he refuse to return Kim Jihyun, but he also speaks rudely. I argued with him, but he asked someone to knock out half of my teeth. Now he wanted to provoke all Cha Taihang's anger and immediately go to the Tang sect to avenge him. Sure enough, Cha Taihang shouted angrily. Arrogant Huaxia man. I will make you regret it. Although he was angry, he was not an impulsive person. The reason why he did not directly go to the capital to take Kim Jihyun away was that he had fully understood the strength of the Tang sect and knew that Qin Haodong's women were unfathomable. Cha Bumpkin said, Teacher, what should we do? Cha Taihang said, Come back. I know what to do. 5 minutes later, another challenge letter appeared on the front page of the deep web. Cha Taihang, the boxing saint of Koryo, issued a challenge to Qin Haodong, the medical sage of Huaxia. This time, the whole underground world was in an uproar. Everyone did not know what the young man called the medical sage had done to make him be challenged by 2 saints in succession. He's dead. I think this Huaxia man is dead. 2 saints challenged him one after another. It's impossible for him to survive. I just checked Qin Haodong's information. Although he is also very great, and has reached the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm at such a young age, he will not be a match for a saint in any case. It's a pity that such a young 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm might become a saint in a few years. But now he is destined to be a sacrifice. 2 consecutive letters of challenge immediately caused the forum of the deep web to be in an uproar. Everyone was talking about the 2 saints challenging Qin Haodong. But at this moment, another challenge letter appeared on the front page of the deep web, and the target was still Qin Haodong, the medical sage. Chapter 796. Oh my god, it's Savage Beast God. This horrible guy also challenged Qin Haodong. Oh no, Qin Haodong is done for. If he is defeated by Zhang Wudi and the boxing saint, Qin Haodong may die in one piece. But if Savage Beast God challenges him, I'm afraid he won't even die in one piece. I guess this guy must run away as far as he can. He doesn't dare to accept the challenge. After all, he's obviously looking for death. Qin Haodong was slightly surprised to see that this guy called Savage Beast God also challenged him. He had never met this person before. Why did he challenge him? At this time his cell phone rang. It was Donnie Randall again. After answering the phone, she said immediately, Qin, I think you'd better hide. Although I admit that you're very strong and outstanding, no one can face the challenge of 3 saints at once. And even if you run away, it's not a shame. On the contrary, it's already your honor to be the opponent of 3 saints. Run away? Why should I run away? Qin Haodong said with a smile. Since these 3 guys want to die, I'll help them. Donnie Randall said anxiously. Qin, I'm telling you, it's really not the time to show off. Sometimes it's also a kind of wisdom to give in. Well, Miss Donnie Randall, I know what I'm doing. Take these 3 challenges for me. Let's set the time at noon 3 days later. At that time, I'll get rid of these 3 arrogant guys at the Tianju peak of Kunlun Mountain. Hearing Qin Haodong's bold words, Donnie Randall was speechless. Who was the one who didn't know what was going on? Miss Randall, tell me what's going on with that guy called Savage Beast God? Why did he jump out to join in the fun? Donnie Randall sighed. She knew that there was no turning back, so she could only give Qin Haodong as much information as possible. Savage Beast God is the overlord of the European underground world. His name is Khan. Although he doesn't practice Huaxia martial arts, some people speculate that his cultivation has reached the saint realm. His status in the underground world of Europe was no less than that of Zhang Wudi of the Qin gang. In addition, this man looked extremely ferocious, like a beast, so everyone gave him the nickname of Savage Beast God. You must be extra careful when you go up against this guy, because the word savage is not just for show. He has killed countless people over the years, but he has never left a complete corpse. Qin Haodong nodded and then asked, "But I've never met him before. Why did this guy come out to join in the fun? Do you have nothing better to do in Europe?" Donnie Randall said, "Of course not. The reason why he stood out to challenge you was that he was hired by Angel Pharmaceutical. The Angel Company reached an agreement with him. As long as Khan could tear you apart, they would give him 10 top-grade beauties and 1 billion euros as a reward. The Savage Beast deity is greedy and lustful. At the same time, he doesn't take you seriously, so he agreed to the other party's request." Only then did Qin Haodong realize that Angel Pharmaceutical had suffered a big loss in his hands again. Seeing that Zhang Wudi and Cha Taihang had challenged him, they took the opportunity to stir up trouble, hoping to kill him with the help of others. The two of them chatted for a while. Qin Haodong got a lot of information and hung up the phone. Then the whole underground world was in an uproar. Qin Haodong gave the same reply to the 3 challenges on the front page of the deep web, which was to accept the challenge, or accept the challenge. Is this Huaxia boy crazy? He even dared to accept the challenge of Savage Beast God. Oh my God! He accepted the challenge of 3 saints at the same time and place. Even if he wants to commit suicide, he can't do it like this. I'm afraid even master how you can't do it. He's really courting death. I think this guy is dead meat. While everyone was talking about it, martial artists from all over the world rushed to Tianju Peak of Kunlun Mountain at the same time. They all wanted to see the 3 saints fight at the same time. On the Tang sect's side, everything was calm, and there was no tension before the battle at all. Qin Haodong acted as if nothing had happened. He went to the Donghui Clinic of Traditional Chinese Medicine for treatment, and went to the Capital Medical College to attend classes. It seemed that he had not made any preparations. On the side of the capital, the others could not be as calm as him. On the day of the battle, the 7 great families all rushed to Tianju Peak of Kunlun Mountain to watch the battle. In their words, they were cheering for Qin Haodong, but only they knew what they were thinking. At the same time, the casinos in the underground world opened their own bets for this challenge. Although Donnie Randall repeatedly dissuaded Qin Haodong, she finally bet on him after hesitating for a while. Kunlun Mountain was an incomparably huge mountain range with no end in sight. It contained thousands of peaks of various sizes. Among the many peaks, Tianju Peak was the most distinctive. It looked like a giant pillar piercing the sky, rising directly from the ground to the sky. At its top was an open space of nearly 1,000 square meters, which made people sigh at the magic of the creator. Because of the characteristics of Tianju Peak, ordinary people could not climb it at all. Moreover, the battle between the saints was earth-shattering, so no one dared to stand on it to watch the battle. Otherwise, if they were affected and fell down from Tianju Peak, they would definitely die. There were dozens of peaks around Tianju Peak, large and small. The people who came to watch occupied these advantageous positions to watch the final battle. This time, the Qin family almost turned out in full strength. Led by Qin Zhanao, the family master, there were dozens of people. Standing at the foot of Tianju Peak, Qin Zhanao's mood was extremely complicated for his grandson, who was getting more and more popular. If he had known that Qin Haodong would be so outstanding, he would have kept him in the Qin family no matter what. Unfortunately, there was no if in the world, and there was no medicine for regret. Among the many people watching, the most eye-catching was the Tang sect. In addition to Chu Xianyue, who stayed at home to take care of Tang Tang, Yan Feifei, Feng Wu, Hu Xiaoxian, the Nailan sisters and others were all there to cheer for their man. Any one of these women was a devastatingly beautiful existence. Now that they were gathered together, it was simply dazzling the eyes of countless men. Unfortunately, due to the dignity of the Tang sect, these people only dared to watch from afar, and no one dared to approach. On another small peak next to the Tang sect, 3 people stood side by side. The one on the far left was more than 2 meters tall, and his body was beyond people's imagination. His bulging arms were probably thicker than an ordinary person's waist. This guy's whole face was covered with black hair, and he looked extremely fierce. He was the ruler of the underground world in Europe, and also the savage beast god Khan. Standing on the right was Cha Taihang, the boxing saint of Koryo. This man looked about 50 or 60 years old. He was not tall, but his whole body was full of the majesty of a saint. The most eye-catching person was Zhang Wudi, who was standing in the middle. This person used to be a legend in Huaxia. He was invincible and killed his enemies. Although he was defeated by Master Hao Yu in the end, he still won the respect of countless people. Nearly half of the people who came to watch the battle today came for him. They all wanted to see if he could return to Huaxia as a king. They were also looking forward to Master Hao Yu's appearance, and the two of them would fight again. Today's weather was good. The sun was scorching in the sky. When noon was approaching, a figure suddenly stepped out and flew straight to the top of Tianju Mountain. In the face of the challenge of the 3 saints, it was impossible for Qin Haodong to hide his cultivation. Since he could no longer pretend to be weak, he had to show his dominance. Seeing his vigorous figure, the masters of the 7 great families in the capital nodded secretly. It seemed that their previous guess was right. As the head of the Tang sect, Qin Haodong had indeed reached the level of a saint. After standing on Tianju Peak, Qin Haodong put his hands behind his back and looked down at the many warriors under his feet. Zhang Wudi, Cha Taihang Khan, which one of you will die first? This shout was so domineering that it surrounded the mountains and clearly reached everyone's ears. Khan cried, "I'll go first. If you beat me to it, I'll lose my bonus and beauties." After that, his tall body rushed down from the mountain like a meteor. Unlike other saints, he cultivated an extremely rare external cultivation method. His body was extremely strong, but he couldn't control the chi of heaven and earth to fly. Even so, his speed was amazing. Along the way, he knocked down countless trees and rocks like a tank. After arriving at the foot of Tianju Peak, his 2 big hands were like excavators, easily inserted into the hard stone wall, and then quickly climbed up. Although he looked tall and heavy, his speed was 10 times faster than that of a monkey. In the blink of an eye, he stood on the top of Tianju Peak. After going up the mountain, this guy was like a gorilla in Tarzan. He beat his strong chest with both hands and howled wildly. "Toy boy, come here quickly and let me tear you apart." Qin Haodong still put his hands behind his back. He looked at the big guy in front of him. To be able to practice external kung fu to such an extreme existence, it really required extremely high talent and great effort. He said indifferently, "Yes, but you have to have the ability." "Go to hell." Khan roared, and his huge fist suddenly smashed toward Qin Haodong's face. This punch was so powerful that even the surrounding air seemed to collapse, making a dull whistling sound. "It's over. The beast god is here. Qin Haodong is dead." Qin Haodong's luck is too bad. If the other 2 saints were here, he could still have a whole body, but the savage beast god is here. He will definitely be torn to pieces. Don't be noisy. You forget that Qin Haodong is also a saint. He just flew up. Maybe he can create a miracle. While many warriors were talking, Qin Haodong also made a move. He did not choose to dodge as others thought, but also punched out. His punch looked light, not as powerful as Khan's. His fist was also many times smaller than Khan's. The 2 fists, one big and one small, formed a sharp contrast. Before everyone could sigh, there was a loud bang. The 2 fists collided, and the loud sound was deafening. Then the incomparably manic airflow swept away the gravel, dead branches and rotten leaves on the top of the mountain. The most surprising thing was that Qin Haodong only took 4 or 5 steps back, while the tall body of the savage beast god, like being hit by a cannonball, quickly retreated more than 10 meters. If he hadn't reached out to grab a small tree next to him, he would have been knocked down from Tianju Peak. Suddenly, everyone was stunned. They could not imagine that such a thin young man could defeat the savage beast god in terms of strength. My God, what did I see? How did he do it? Such a small body is stronger than the savage beast god. I really don't know how he practiced. No way. I bet all my money on the savage beast god. That's all I have. Chapter 797. What these people didn't know was that Qin Haodong was practicing the evergreen wood longevity body, which was famous in the cultivation world. In terms of strength, it was not inferior to any external martial arts. At the foot of the mountain, Zhang Wudi smiled and murmured, "Interesting. I wanted to use you as a stepping stone, but it seems that you are stronger than I thought." After being beaten back by the punch, savage beast god did not feel fear at all. On the contrary, his animal nature was aroused. His eyes were blood red, and he let out an earth-shattering roar. Then, he rushed at Qin Haodong again. Compared with others, he had an incomparable advantage, which was his strong body. However, in front of Qin Haodong's evergreen wood longevity body, his advantage did not exist at all. Whether it was speed, strength, or physical toughness, he was completely suppressed. In this case, his only fate was to be used as a sandbag. In just a few minutes, Kong was sent flying dozens of times by Qin Haodong. However, this guy's body refining technique was really powerful. Although he was beaten black and blue, he was not injured. "Pretty boy, even though you're very powerful, so what? No one can break my defense. I am invincible," Khan said and hammered his chest with both hands again, showing his strong defense. Khan's defense is really powerful. I heard that even a sniper rifle can't penetrate his body. I bet that Khan will win. Although he can't win, it seems that he won't lose either. This fight is likely to be a draw. I don't think so. Although Qin Haodong seems to have some advantages, his strength is limited after all. When his strength is exhausted, he will be torn to pieces. Just as people were discussing the outcome, Qin Haodong's hand flashed with a golden light and suddenly stabbed Khan's chest. In terms of speed, Khan could not compare with Qin Haodong at all. In the face of this shocking sword, he had no ability to dodge. However, he did not panic too much. Just like what people said, even a bullet from a sniper rifle could not penetrate his skin, let alone an ordinary sword. But in the blink of an eye, a heart-wrenching pain came from his chest. Khan turned pale with fright. He hadn't felt this kind of pain for a long time. Ever since his body refining cultivation method reached the large success stage, no one had ever been able to break through his defense. Lowering his head, he saw that a large golden sword had already pierced through his left chest, gradually penetrating into his 7th wound. He only wanted to obtain the map of the ancient ruins. As long as he obtained the treasures in the ruins and raised his cultivation, it wouldn't be difficult for him to flatten the Tang sect. Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "You talk too much. Let's do it." "Brat, go to hell." Seeing that there was no hope of peace talks, Cha Taiheng roared and punched Qin Haodong fiercely. Since he was known as the Fist Saint, his punch was naturally very powerful. It was not inferior to Khan's punch at all. Moreover, he was more agile than Khan, and his fist technique was more exquisite. Halfway through his punch, it had already turned into a sky full of fist shadows. In the eyes of the people at the foot of the mountain, Qin Haodong had been surrounded by Cha Taiheng's fist shadows at this moment, and there was no way for him to escape. A grain of light dares to compete with the bright moon. Qin Haodong snorted coldly, and then threw a punch. With the existence of the spirit, no matter how fancy Cha Taiheng's fist technique was, it was just an illusion. In the blink of an eye, Qin Haodong found the real body. The two fists collided. Under the full force of the two saint-level masters, the sky and the earth changed color, and the sand and stones were flying. In terms of strength, Cha Taiheng's fist technique was a little worse than Khan's. This punch only made Qin Haodong take 2 or 3 steps back slightly, and he was directly shaken away like a kite with a broken string. Fortunately, he could control the qi of heaven and earth, so he did not fall off Tianju Peak, but flew back again. Although it was only a head-on collision, Cha Taihang had thoroughly realized Qin Haodong's strength. In the face of such a powerful opponent, even if he could win, he would pay the price of half his life. Of course, this was not what he wanted. Qin Haodong, I admit that you are very strong, but there is still Zhang Wudi behind you. He is your most powerful enemy today. If you save your strength, you can still fight with him. If we fight to the death, I'm afraid you will only have a dead end. So listen to my advice. As long as you give me the map, I will leave immediately, and at the same time, I will pay you 1 billion yuan as compensation. You think too much. It won't take me too much effort to kill a player like you. Besides, you can't leave today. I will definitely do what I promised Kim Ji-hyun. After saying that, Qin Haodong did not waste any more time with him. In a flash, he appeared in front of Cha Taihang. With a flash of golden light, the Xian Yuan sword turned into a sky full of sword shadows and drowned him. Cha Taihang was shocked. He had just seen the power of the Xian Yuan sword. Even the beast god Khan's defense could not resist it, let alone him. He hurriedly tried his best and punched Qin Haodong's sword shadows with his 2 fists like raindrops, trying to resolve them. The following 2 chapters are for readers who have monthly votes. Chapter 798. Although Cha Taihang tried his best, he was not Qin Haodong, who had a spirit. He punched, but all of his punches hit the air. All of his punches were illusions. Suddenly, he felt a chill in his chest. The sword shadows all over the sky dissipated, and a golden sword was inserted in his left chest, directly piercing his heart. Puff! Cha Taihang spat out a mouthful of blood. He had thought that at least he would not lose to Qin Haodong, but he did not expect that he would be defeated so miserably. Qin Haodong killed him with just 1 punch and 1 sword. Qin Haodong raised his leg and kicked him in the lower abdomen, directly kicking him down from Tianju Peak. Cha Taihang's body fell straight from the top of the mountain and fell in front of the people of the Tang sect with a plop. Falling from such a high mountain, Cha Taihang had been smashed into a pile of meat paste. Ah! With a harsh scream, Kim Ji-hyun rushed up with a sharp dagger in her hand, stabbing Cha Taihang's body that had been smashed into mud again. This man had slaughtered the whole Kim family for a map. Today he finally got his revenge. It was a pity that Cha Taihang, the boxing saint, who was famous in Koryo, died without a whole body because of his greed. Others didn't care about this. What they cared about was their own gambling. Qin Haodong won another game, and those who bet on him had made a lot of money. However, some people had bet on Khan and Cha Taihang, and now they had lost so much that they could not even put on their pants. However, even though they had won 2 games in a row, the major casinos did not lower the odds between Zhang Wudi and Qin Haodong. In contrast, they were more optimistic about the famous invincible King Kong. Zhang Wudi stood on the top of the mountain and narrowed his eyes slightly. Qin Haodong's strength was constantly refreshing his understanding. It seemed that it was impossible for him not to fight. He gently tapped his feet on the top of the mountain, and in the blink of an eye, he had already appeared on the top of Tianju Peak. The onlookers immediately burst into cheers. Zhang Wudi, who was at the middle stage of the Saint Realm, was much stronger than the 2 people, just now with his teleportation skill. Zhang Wudi was still standing with his hands behind his back. He glanced at Qin Haodong and said proudly, "Boy, you're not bad. You're finally qualified for me to attack you. This is your honor, but also your sorrow. As long as I attack you, you'll definitely die." Although Qin Haodong could feel his opponent's strength, he was not too nervous. He said calmly, "Zhang Wudi, show me your real skills. It's useless to just talk." Zhang Wudi frowned and said, "Young man, ignorance is bliss. Although you are very powerful, you are still no match for me. Admit defeat. You know that my target this time is not you." Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "There's no such thing as admitting defeat in my dictionary. Since I've accepted your challenge, we must determine the winner. Jean Woody's face instantly turned cold. He originally wanted to preserve some of his strength, but since the other party didn't know what was good for them, he had to make a move. Since you want to die, I'll send you on your way. After a low shout, a powerful momentum suddenly broke out. Jean Woody cultivated the frost chi. When he burst out with all his strength, the whole top of Tianju Peak was eroded by the cold air, and the trees and rocks were instantly wrapped in frost. It's really powerful, Qin Haodong exclaimed in his heart. He quickly ran the greenwood genuine chi to resist the bone-piercing cold air. Watch my fist, Jean Woody shouted again, and then punched Qin Haodong. Compared with Khan, the beast god, and Che Tehang, the boxing saint, this punch was much more powerful. After the punch, the surrounding air let out a shrill scream, like the roar of a fighter plane breaking the sound barrier when it took off. Oh my god! The speed of the punch broke the sound barrier. Yan Feifei and the others at the foot of Tianju Peak all cried out in surprise. As a martial saint, they knew how powerful this punch was. At the same time, everyone's hearts were in their mouths. Could Qin Haodong resist such a powerful Jean Woody? Those who bet on Jean Woody suddenly cheered. He was indeed a powerful invincible Vajra. His attack was extraordinary. Facing the punch that broke the sound barrier, Qin Haodong's pupils suddenly shrank. Originally, he wanted to fight with Jean Woody, but now it seemed that it was impossible. He could only use his trump card. Ba! Jean Woody, stop. But at this moment, a monk in a red cassock suddenly appeared in front of Qin Haodong. He raised his hand and gently clapped forward. This move seemed to be very casual, but it easily resolved Jean Woody's punch. Jean Woody punched the monk's palm and quickly flew back. After stabilizing his body, he said in a deep voice, "Hao Yu, you're finally here. Master Hao Yu. Oh my god, Master Hao Yu is here. Is this Master Hao Yu, who is known as the top master in Huaxia? I finally see him in person. Master Hao Yu is here. It seems that Jean Woody is going to lose today. That's hard to say. I heard that the two of them fought for 3 days and 3 nights before Master Hao Yu narrowly won with one move. Now Jean Woody has reached the middle stage of the Saint Realm. It's hard to say who will win. Ba! Master Hao Yu chanted and then said to Jean Woody, "Benefactor Jean, since you've already left Huaxia, why did you come back?" Jean Woody laughed and said, "That's right. I said that I wouldn't set foot in Huaxia before I was sure that I could defeat you. But today, I've reached the middle stage of the Saint Realm, which is enough to defeat you. Of course, the original oath doesn't count." Master Hao Yu said, "Benefactor Jean, revenge breeds revenge. There's no end to it. Why are you still obsessed with who will win?" Jean Woody said, "That's enough, Hao Yu. You're a fake monk. Why do you keep talking about Buddha? Since you're here today, let's fight to the death." Master Hao Yu frowned and said, "Benefactor Jean, I wholeheartedly convert to Buddhism. How can you say that I'm a fake monk?" Jean Woody said, "You don't even have a stutter. How can you say that you wholeheartedly convert to Buddhism? I think you're just waiting to return to the secular world." Master Hao Yu was silent for a while. When he converted to Buddhism, his master said that his fate in the secular world was not over, so he did not receive the precepts. "Well, don't talk nonsense. Let's fight. I want to see how much you've improved over the years." Jean Woody got into a fighting stance as he spoke. Compared with when he was facing Qin Haodong just now, he looked much more serious. It was obvious that Master Hao Yu was his real opponent. Ba! Since Benefactor Jean is so persistent, I can only kill the evil and defend the Tao. Master Hao Yu was also ready to fight. Wait a minute. It was Qin Haodong who shouted. Since Master Hao Yu appeared, he had been standing there in a daze. It was only now that he came to his senses. "Young benefactor, what can I do for you?" Master Hao Yu turned around. At this time, he saw Qin Haodong's face clearly. Even though he was a profound Buddhist practitioner, he was still shocked and stood there like a statue. "Master Hao Yu, I want to know your name when you were a layman." Qin Haodong looked excited. Master Hao Yu didn't look very old. He was in his 40s or 50s, but he looked so much like Qin Haodong. He was exactly the same as the photo Chu Xianyue had pasted on the bedside, except for the hair on the top of his head. Because of this, He was stunned when he saw Hao Yu. In his opinion, this man was undoubtedly his father, Qin Zongheng. Hearing Qin Haodong's question, Master Hao Yu came to his senses and said, Ba, young benefactor, I'm a monk who has no worldly desires. I've forgotten my layman's name. If you really have no worldly desires, then you wouldn't have been in a daze when you saw me just now, Qin Haodong said excitedly. Master Hao Yu, you're Qin Zongheng of the Qin family, right? You're my father, aren't you? At this time, the mountain wind was whistling. The people at the foot of the mountain could only see Qin Haodong and Master Hao Yu talking, but they didn't know what they were talking about. I think this guy is scared out of his wits by Zhang Wudi. He must be asking Master Hao Yu to help him. What's so strange about that? In the whole of Huaxia, only Master Hao Yu can subdue Zhang Wudi. It seems that Master Hao Yu will be the one to fight in this game. In the face of Qin Haodong's question, Master Hao Yu's calm face showed a touch of embarrassment and hesitation. Ba, young benefactor, Hao Yu has already become a Buddhist monk. Don't talk about layman's affairs anymore. Although Master Hao Yu didn't admit it, his words meant that he agreed with what Qin Haodong said. He was Qin Zongheng, the rare martial arts genius of the Qin family. Nonsense. You're a Buddhist monk, but what about my mother? Qin Haodong said excitedly. Do you know that my mother has been waiting for you all these years? How much she has suffered alone. Back then, you left the Qin family because of me. Now that everything has been resolved, I'm still alive, and all the obstacles have been swept away. There are no more obstacles in front of you and my mother. What reason do you have to escape to Buddhism? Well, Master Hao Yu didn't know how to answer for a moment. He had run away from the Qin family because of Qin Haodong's disappearance. He was so desperate that he shaved his head and became a monk. But he didn't expect that his son would stand in front of him again 20 years later. Qin Haodong said, There's no such thing. You have to renounce asceticism now. Go back and take good care of my mother. Hearing their conversation, Zhang Wudi was also stunned. He didn't expect that Qin Haodong and Master Hao Yu were father and son. At this time, the two people in front of him were too emotional and completely unprepared. If he attacked at this time, it was likely that he would kill the father and son together. But he pursued the ultimate of martial arts and had his own dignity as a warrior. He would not do such a dirty thing like sneak attack. He said, Hao Yu, I told you that you are a fake monk. Now that your son has run away, why are you still pretending? Master Hao Yu put his palms together and said, Ba, I've sinned. I'm a Buddhist monk. I don't have a son. Seeing that Hao Yu didn't recognize him, Qin Haodong said anxiously, Qin Zongheng, do you have a conscience? It's okay if you don't recognize me, but you can't let my mother down. Before Master Hao Yu could speak, Zhang Wudi said, That's enough. Don't talk about your family matters here. Which one of you is going to fight me? Hao Yu said, Of course it's me. He pretended to be calm on the surface, but in fact his heart was in turmoil. The young man in front of him was his son. He didn't fulfill his responsibility as a father back then. Today, he couldn't let him die in Zhang Wudi's hands, even if he had to risk his life. But unexpectedly Qin Haodong said, No, he challenged me. Naturally I should fight him. Master Hao Yu said, How can you do that? He is at the middle stage of the Saint Realm, and has reached the realm of breaking the sound barrier at full speed. You are no match for him at all. You will only die if you fight him. Dad, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. It's not so easy to defeat me. Then Qin Haodong turned to Zhang Wudi and said, Come on, your opponent is me. Let's fight. Chapter 799. Zhang Wudi didn't expect that Qin Haodong would insist on fighting with him, after seeing his punch, that could break the sound barrier. He sneered and said, Well, I'll send you off first. Later, I'll send your father to hell to reunite with you. Seeing that Qin Haodong insisted on fighting with him, Master Hao Yu had no choice but to stand aside and watch. Once his son was in danger, he would immediately rescue him. After a few words, Master Hao Yu stepped aside and Qin Haodong faced Zhang Wudi directly. The people under the stage were not calm at all. Oh my God! Qin Haodong has been talking for a long time, And he still wants to fight with John Woody. Is he crazy? I don't think he's crazy. But Master Hao Yu doesn't want to help him. It's over. I think Qin Haodong is dead. He can only block 3 moves from John Woody at most. Hearing the discussion around them, many women of the Tang sect were nervous. They were all ready to rush up and beat John Woody, as long as Qin Haodong was in danger. According to Qin Haodong's request, Master Hao Yu stepped back again, and again, until he reached the edge of Tianju Peak. When he looked up again, he suddenly found that the 2 people in front of him had disappeared. The whole top of Tianju Peak was shrouded in a thick fog. This is a formation. Feeling the spiritual fluctuations contained in the thick fog, Master Hao Yu immediately realized that this was an extremely advanced formation. No wonder Qin Haodong was so confident. It turned out that he had been prepared. He didn't expect his son to be so outstanding. At such a young age, he had reached the early stage of the Saint Realm, and could control such an advanced formation. Inside the formation, Qin Haodong suddenly disappeared before John Woody could make a move. However, he had seen a lot of things over the years, and knew that this was a formation. So he did not panic too much. He said loudly, "Boy, let me tell you, in front of absolute power, your tricks are useless." After that, the cold qi on his body suddenly burst out again. But soon he found that the cold qi, which used to be extremely powerful, could only cover a range of 1 meter around his body, and it was much weaker than before. What's going on? With doubts in his heart, he suddenly punched again. Although he couldn't see Qin Haodong's shadow, the power of his punch was enough to destroy half of Tianju Peak. It was useless for Qin Haodong to hide. However, he soon discovered that the power of this punch was not even 1% of its usual strength. It did not even cause a ripple in the fog. After finding that his cultivation was much weaker than usual, Jean Woody was shocked. Only then did he realize the power of the formation. He quickly stepped on the ground, and was ready to fly into the air. From his point of view, no matter how powerful a formation was, it had to have an area of coverage. As long as he rushed out, he could think of a way to break the formation. But soon, he found that his feet were hurting, but he didn't move an inch. He had lost the ability to fly in the array formation. After a series of failures, Jean Woody was a little flustered. His strength had dropped, and he couldn't leave. Wouldn't he become a piece of meat on the chopping board? What do you think? My array formation is not bad, right? As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Haodong pushed away the fog and walked to Jean Woody. He said happily, "This formation is called the Dragon Trapping Formation. It's specially prepared for Saint Realm Masters. In the Dragon Trapping Formation, no one can mobilize the qi of heaven and earth. Of course, except for me. I'm the master of the formation. This is my world, so I can do whatever I want." Jean Woody was shocked. Compared with the Supreme Power Master, a saint could mobilize the surrounding qi of heaven and earth for his own use. If this formation could really lock the qi of heaven and earth, then he would be no different from a Supreme Power Master. At first he didn't believe it, but he failed several times. The reason why his cultivation dropped, and he couldn't fly, was that he couldn't mobilize the qi of heaven and earth. "Qin Haodong, this is a fair competition. Do you dare to fight with me fair and square?" At this point he had no other way. He could only hope that Qin Haodong, who was young and aggressive, would be provoked by his words, and remove the dragon trapping formation. But what he didn't expect was that Qin Haodong was angry. Instead of removing the formation, he slapped him in the face. "Jean Woody, you're so King shameless. How many years have you been famous? You're a master of the same generation as my father. How dare you challenge a junior? How dare you talk to me fair and square? How dare you hit me?" Jean Woody got up from the ground. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Since he became famous, he had never been slapped in the face. Especially in the Qing gang these years, he was like an emperor. Anyone who disrespected him would not be able to see the sun tomorrow. But today, he was slapped in the face by a young man. This slap made him lose his mind. He immediately rushed to Qin Haodong crazily. But as soon as he rushed up, he was slapped back again. Qin Haodong went over and kicked Jean Woody's but a few more times. "You're really brainless. I told you that in this dragon-trapping formation, I'm the god. You're not even as good as a 9th-level Supreme Power Master. How can you fight with me? Zhang Wudi completely lost his temper after successive failures. As Qin Haodong said, he couldn't mobilize the qi of heaven and earth. At most, he was a 9th-level Supreme Power Master. How could he fight with a saint? Well, I admit defeat. Zhang Wudi had been overseas for many years, so he naturally knew how to be flexible. Although he was full of anger, he could only swallow it for the time being. He swore in his heart that as long as he got out of this dragon-trapping formation, he would not only kill Qin Haodong, but also destroy the entire Tang sect. Qin Haodong had already seen through his thoughts. He chuckled and said, "Do you want to kill me after you get out of the dragon-trapping formation and destroy the entire Tang sect? No, I swear to God. Don't play tricks with me. Compared with your oath, I believe in my contract more." Qin Haodong interrupted Zhang Wudi before he could finish his words. He said in a cold voice, "I never leave any hidden dangers for myself. Offer a drop of your blood and be my servant in the future, or die." At the same time, the Xian Yuan sword went straight to Zhang Wudi's throat. As long as he said no, he would be killed immediately. That's impossible. After all, Zhang Wudi was a strong man. Although he did not want to die, he was even more unwilling to give up his dignity. Qin Haodong said, "If you don't surrender, not only will I kill you, but I will also destroy your overseas Qin gang. No one will be left alive." "I'd rather die than be humiliated," Zhang Wudi said. "I can admit defeat, but I will never surrender." "Is it really impossible?" Qin Haodong sneered and said, "Don't get me wrong. I just said that no one will be left alive, including your son and daughter in Chinatown, the capital of M country." "What? How do you know that?" Zhang Wudi suddenly turned pale with fright. He had always thought that he had hidden his son and daughter very well, but he did not expect that the young man in front of him would know everything. Ever since he knew the strength of the overseas Qin gang, Qin Haodong had made up his mind to take Zhang Wudi in and use the power of the Qin gang to fight against the invasion of the alien demon. However, he also knew that it was not easy to subdue such a strong man, so he asked the Deep Net to help him thoroughly investigate all the secrets of Zhang Wudi, including his son and daughter. Everyone had a weakness. Zhang Wudi was not afraid of death, but he cared about his son and daughter. In fact, even if he did not surrender, Qin Haodong would not hurt his son and daughter. However, he did not know this, so he did not dare to take the risk. "Well, I choose to surrender. I hope you can keep your word." After that, he bit his index finger and flicked out a drop of blood. Qin Haodong also flicked his index finger gently, and the golden talisman that had been prepared flew into the air and sucked the drop of blood. After the golden light flashed, the rune disappeared, and the master-servant contract was established. From now on, Zhang Wudi would become his slave who would never betray him. Get up. Since Zhang Wudi had become an absolutely trustworthy servant, Qin Haodong briefly told him about the alien demon and asked him to pay more attention to the movements of the alien demon and the angel pharmaceutical overseas. "Our relationship must be kept secret. Only the two of us know. I will not use the power of the Qin gang unless it's absolutely necessary." Knowing that Qin Haodong was saving his face, Zhang Wudi said respectfully, "Thank you, master." "Well, go back." Qin Haodong waved his hand and directly removed the dragon-trapping formation. The people at the foot of Tianju Peak were watching anxiously. Suddenly, they saw the fog dissipate, and Qin Haodong and Zhang Wudi reappeared in front of them. Zhang Wudi said to the people below the platform, "I, Zhang Wudi, have lost this battle." After admitting defeat in public, he rose into the air and disappeared into the sky in an instant. "My God, Zhang Wudi lost to Qin Haodong. What the hell is going on? What just happened? It's over. Even Zhang Wudi has lost. My money, is completely gone." All 3 battles were over, and those who bet on Qin Haodong to win had made a lot of money. Of course, there were very few people who bet on Qin Haodong. Only Donnie Randall and the Tang sect had bet heavily on Qin Haodong. At this time, Qin Haodong had no time to think about it. He turned his head and walked toward Master Hao Yu. "Young benefactor, Since it's over, I'm leaving. Master Haoyu was about to leave after saying that. At this time, a whistle sounded behind him. 7 or 8 figures from the Tang sect rose into the air, and a group of women directly surrounded Master Haoyu. This was the signal that Qin Haodong had agreed with them before. As long as he whistled, they would immediately come forward to besiege him. However, this agreement was not used on Zhang Wudi, but on his father. Seeing that he was surrounded, Master Haoyu was a little angry. Get out of my way, or I won't be polite. Dad, these are all your daughters-in-law. Don't you feel ashamed to fight with them? Qin Haodong's words were like a silver needle, which immediately pierced the genuine qi that Master Haoyu had raised. If they were really his daughters-in-law, he would really be embarrassed to fight with them. At the same time, he was extremely amazed at how his son had found so many daughters-in-law, and all of them were stunning beauties. He glanced at them one by one, and suddenly saw a figure. His heart suddenly trembled. This, how could it be possible? At the same time, Yan Feifei also recognized him and exclaimed, Are you Qin Zongheng? Since entering the Tang sect, she had finally calmed down, and was able to get along with Chu Xianyue peacefully. But when she saw Qin Zongheng, she was still shocked. Under the fluctuation of her mind, her genuine qi was in disorder, and she fell straight down the mountain. Qin Haodong was already prepared. He moved and took her into his arms. He whispered in her ear, Since you have chosen me, forget the past. He is no longer Qin Zongheng. He is just your man's father. Hearing his words, Yan Feifei's heart knot was instantly untied. She said shyly, Well, I see. Chapter 800. Qin Haodong persuaded Yan Feifei, but Qin Zongheng had no intention of staying. He said, Don't stop me anymore. I've left the secular world for more than 20 years. There's no need for me to go back now. Seeing that his father was so stubborn, Qin Haodong was a little annoyed. If you continue to be a monk, what about my mother? Qin Zongheng sighed and said, I don't have the face to face the world. Now only Haoyue is left. This sentence also represented his mentality. He had run away alone for so many years, and was too ashamed to face Chu Xianyue. You're running away. You're a coward. Hearing his words, Qin Haodong was relieved. Since he was too ashamed to face her, it meant that he had not really reached the state of emptiness. Since he had not completely let it go, he could bring him home. Qin Zongheng's face froze. And then he said, Whether you're a coward or a man, everything is false. I'm leaving. After he finished speaking, he gently waved his hand, and an invisible force pushed Hu Shaoxian, Feng Wu and the others to the side. Knowing that this was the father that Qin Haodong had been looking for many years, the women did not know how to deal with it. They could only look at Qin Haodong. Wait a minute. Qin Haodong stopped Qin Zongheng and said, Now I've controlled 6 of the 7 major families in the capital. I haven't figured out how to deal with the Qin family. Based on what the Qin family has done, I could have destroyed it, but I didn't do it because of you. I wanted you to control the Qin family after you returned. Since you don't want to, I can only destroy the Qin family. Hearing this, Qin Zongheng's expression finally changed. You can't do this. After all, he's your grandfather. I've been an adopted orphan since I was a child. If I don't even have a father, how can I have a grandfather? In short, if you return, I'll keep the Qin family. If you don't return, there's no need for the Qin family to exist in the capital. Feeling that Qin Haodong was not joking, Qin Zongheng hesitated. As a child who grew up in an aristocratic family, the interests of the family were extremely important. This was also the reason why he would rather run away than fall out with Qin Zhanao. Seeing that it was working, Qin Haodong struck while the iron was hot and said again, It's not easy for my mother to be alone all these years. There are countless people pursuing her, and they can surround the capital city. But my mother has always been thinking about you, so she has never agreed. If you leave again this time, there will be no need for my mother to guard you. When I go back, I will tell her that you are already dead and find her another one. Hearing this, Qin Zongheng immediately became angry. Brat, how dare you? Qin Haodong said with a smile. Why not? If you dare to leave, I dare to do it. You. Qin Zongheng had nothing to say, and his expression had already loosened. Although he was wearing a monastic robe, he still could not forget the woman he had once pledged his eternal love to. Hurry up and come home with me. You don't even have a stutter in your head. How can you still be a monk? Qin Haodong took Qin Zongheng's arm and rushed to the capital with the Tang sect. Qin Zongheng originally wanted to be a monk because of his obsession. Now that his obsession had been resolved by his son, he immediately became eager and couldn't wait to see Chu Xianyue. The people at the foot of the mountain were confused. They didn't know why Master Haoyu left with Qin Haodong. Others didn't see anything, but the father and son were related by blood. Qin Zhanao recognized that Master Haoyu was his son, Qin Zongheng, who had been missing for many years. If Qin Haodong hadn't recognized him, he might have suspected that the two of them just looked similar. But now that Master Haoyu had left with the people of the Tang sect, he must be Qin Zongheng. After the surprise, he said excitedly, Zongheng, my Zongheng is finally back. Qin Zhanlong asked, Brother, what are you talking about? Where is Zongheng? Qin Zhanfeng followed and said, Yes, brother, are you crazy about your son? He is Zongheng. Qin Zhanao pointed to Master Haoyu, who had gone far away, and said, No wonder there has been no news of him all these years. It turns out that Zongheng has become a monk. Only then did everyone understand that Master Haoyu was Qin Zongheng, and Qin Zongheng was Master Haoyu. Hearing that Qin Zongheng had returned, everyone in the Qin family was overjoyed at first, but then their emotions became complicated. Since Qin Haodong took control of the capital, compared with the other 6 families, the relationship between the Qin family and the Tang sect was somewhat ambiguous. Because of what they had done before, Qin Haodong did not have a good impression of the Qin family. This caused the Qin family to always be worried, for fear that one day the Tang sect would be unhappy and erase the Qin family from the capital. Now that Qin Zongheng had returned to the capital, his cultivation had reached the middle stage of the Saint Realm. If he was in charge, the Qin family would be like the sun in the sky. However, judging from the current situation, Qin Zongheng had not resolved the resentment of the past. Otherwise, he would have come to meet them long ago. Therefore, it was still impossible to judge whether the future of the Qin family would be a blessing or a curse. At this moment, boundless regret surged into Qin Zhanao's heart again. He had an outstanding son and a powerful grandson, but they were excluded from the Qin family because of his mistake. He sighed, waved his hand and said, Come on, let's go back. After they left, the other 6 families also returned to the capital one after another. In addition, the martial artists who came to watch the fun also dispersed. The huge Kunlun mountain returned to peace again. In the Tang sect, Chu Xianyue was playing with the little fellow when Qin Haodong rushed in from the outside. Son, you're back. Where did you go? None of you are left. Afraid that his mother would be worried, Qin Haodong did not tell Chu Xianyue about the battle. He said with a smile, I brought you a big treasure. It's a big surprise. Do you want to see it? What big treasure? Is it that Xiaoxian and the others are pregnant? Chu Xianyue cried out in surprise. Qin Zongheng had disappeared for so many years, and now she was almost desperate. What she wanted most was for Qin Haodong to give her a grandson. Mom, grandchildren are from our own family. How can you bring them back from outside? Qin Haodong said as he took out a black cloth that he had prepared and covered Chu Xuanyue's eyes. You'll see the surprise soon. Child, what the hell are you doing? Chu Xianyue said this, but she did not object. She enjoyed the intimacy between her son and her very much. After more than 10 seconds, Qin Haodong said, Get ready. The moment of happiness is here. After that, he suddenly removed the black cloth. Child. Chu Xianyue was about to say something, but she suddenly felt as if her neck was being strangled. She could not say a word. A face that had haunted her dreams appeared in front of her. Qin Zongheng, the man she had been thinking about for so many years, suddenly appeared in front of her. For a moment, she felt like she was in a dream. At this time, Qin Zongheng had already taken off his kasaya and changed into a suit. He looked as handsome as Qin Haodong. Chu Xianyue slowly stretched out her hands, held Qin Zongheng's cheeks and said, "Zongheng, are you really back? Or am I dreaming?" "Xianyue, it's me. I'm back," Qin Zongheng said as he took Chu Xianyue into his arms. Feeling his strong arms, Chu Xianyue was sure that she was not dreaming. Suddenly, years of grievances surged in her heart, and she burst into tears. Qin Haodong knew that it was not suitable for him to stay here at this time. He picked up the little fellow next to him and walked out of the door, closing it behind him. Lin Momo, Hu Xiaoxian, and the other women were waiting outside the door. They wanted to see the scene of the two reuniting after a long time, but they were too embarrassed to enter. After going out, the little fellow asked curiously, "Papa, who is that bald man? He bullied Grandma to tears. Why don't you care?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Tang Tang, that's your grandfather. Don't talk nonsense." "Grandpa? Why did he bully Grandma?" "He didn't bully Grandma. Grandma was so happy that she cried." The little fellow still did not quite understand and asked again, "Why is Grandma so happy?" "Because Grandma likes Grandpa's head very much. She thinks that a bald head is too handsome." Hearing such an outrageous answer, the other girls laughed. "Oh, it turns out that a bald head is so handsome." The little fellow seemed to understand and then said, "Papa, how about shaving your head tomorrow?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Okay, but I'm afraid that your mothers won't agree." Qi Wana rolled her eyes at him and said, "Of course not. If you become a monk, I don't know how many nuns will be harmed." Hu Xiaoxian pinched his waist and said, "If you dare to hide from us and become a monk, we will directly tear down your temple, then cut you up and send you to the palace to be a eunuch." Looking at the eyes of the people around him, Qin Haodong quickly said, "I don't want to be a monk. I don't want to be a monk. I have so many good wives. How can I be a monk?" That night, they held a grand banquet to celebrate Qin Zongheng's return. The next day, Qin Zongheng returned to the Qin family alone and discussed with Qin Zhanao, the family master, in the secret room for a whole morning. Then Qin Zhanao officially announced to the public that he would step down as the family master, and that Qin Zongheng would officially be the family master of the Qin family. Qin Haodong was just about to go to the clinic with Su Hui when Xianyuan Ligay suddenly came. Qin Haodong knew that something must have happened when the master of the Xianyuan pavilion came. After letting him into the living room, he asked, "Is there any news from the alien demons?" Xianyuan Ligay said, "It's not the alien demons, but the news from Angel Pharmaceutical." After careful investigation by the intelligence personnel of the Xianyuan pavilion, it is confirmed that the headquarters of Angel Pharmaceutical is hidden in City Inn of M country. "Do you have a specific location?" Xianyuan Ligay said. "The specific location hasn't been found out yet. The nominal headquarters of Angel Pharmaceutical is also there. Under the cover of the pharmaceutical company, their headquarters are hidden very deeply. So far, we haven't found out where they are hiding." Qin Haodong nodded and said, "It's inevitable that the alien demons are hiding very deeply. Otherwise, they would have been found out over the years." Xianyuan Ligay added, "Sacred Master, there's another thing that happened. I think it's necessary to report to you." Qin Haodong said, "What's the matter?" After Sun Fengqing and Sun Bowie arrived in City Inn of M country, they suddenly disappeared a few days later. They couldn't be found after many investigations. Now the Sun family has called the police. I guess this matter has something to do with Angel Pharmaceutical. It's very likely that they were the ones who took them away. Hearing this news, Qin Haodong was lost in thought. He had killed Dr. Jins in Yundian province and destroyed the plan of Angel Pharmaceutical. With the strength of Angel Pharmaceutical, it was easy to find out that Sun Fengqing had participated in his treatment of the zombie virus and had the prescription of the Sambao blood cleansing elixir. It was reasonable for them to take him away for related research. After a while he said, "It seems that I have to make a trip to M country." He admired Sun Fengqing's enthusiasm and magnanimity for traditional Chinese medicine. It could be said that Sun Fengqing had been taken away by Angel Pharmaceutical this time because of him. In order to rescue Sun Fengqing and Sun Bowie, and find out the secret of Angel Pharmaceutical. This trip to M country was imperative. Chapter 801. Xianyuan Legay said, Sacred Master, do you need me to send you some men? Qin Haodong said, No, I can go by myself. If there are too many people, it will be too big of a target and inconvenient to move. He had now subdued John Wudi, which was equivalent to subduing the entire overseas Qin gang. For the time being, there was no need to use the power of Huaxia. After sending Xianyuan Legay away, he called the women to his side and told them about his trip to M country. This time, it might not be a short time, so he naturally had to say hello to everyone. Although they were reluctant to leave, they knew that he had something to do, so they didn't say anything. Lin Momo said, I think Tangmin Pharmaceutical has developed to a certain scale. It's time to enter the overseas market. This time, you can go to M country to set up a vanguard. It's better to settle all the early matters of the factory. Qin Haodong said, We can produce in Huaxia, and then sell the medicine directly. Can't our blood revival elixir get the market there? Boss Lin shook her head. It's not as simple as you think. Although the blood revival elixir is the only medicine that can cure leukemia, the Western world is very resistant to traditional Chinese medicine in Huaxia. Some countries directly legislate to restrict the import of traditional Chinese medicine. Although some countries do not completely restrict it, the approval procedures are very strict. It is normal for a set of procedures to be delayed for 3 to 5 years. Our professional team has done research and found that the best way to enter the Western market is to build factories there, so that we can save a lot of trouble. Okay, I see. After hearing Lin Momo's words, Qin Haodong understood what was going on. Now the big cake of the pharmaceutical industry was in the hands of big Western consortiums, such as Angel Pharmaceutical. They were thinking about how to eat the cake of Huaxia every day, so they naturally would not allow traditional Chinese medicine to compete with them. Therefore, it was expected that the restrictions were strict. In this case, even if they built factories in the West, it would still be very difficult. Now that he had made the decision, he did not delay any longer. After some simple preparations, he rushed to the airport. There were many things to do in M country this time, so it was not good for him to be too high profile. Therefore, he did not use his private plane, but boarded a flight to M country. Lin Momo had booked a first-class ticket for him. After getting on the plane, he was led to his seat by a beautiful stewardess. Sitting next to him was a woman. She was reading a fashion magazine, and her face was covered by it. Even if he couldn't see her face clearly, he could feel the woman's strong charm, because her figure was too good. Her buttocks, long legs, any one of them could instantly capture a man's attention. It seemed that his luck with women was pretty good. He could meet beautiful women just by taking a plane. He just didn't know what they looked like. Thinking of this, Qin Haodong sat in his seat. Feeling that someone was coming, the woman put down the magazine in her hand. When she saw Qin Haodong, she shouted, Little brother, it's you. Are you going to M country too? Qin Haodong turned his head and saw that the woman was Shiyumi, the president of Liusu Clothing, and a well-known clothing designer in Huaxia. He had once saved her. Sister, I didn't expect to meet you here. Qin Haodong was also a little surprised. I have something to do in City Inn of M country. Shiyumi smiled charmingly and said, Little brother, I'm also going to City Inn of M country. We took the same flight, and our seats are in the same place. It seems that we are really fated. Qin Haodong nodded with a smile. He had to admit that Shiyumi's charm was so strong that he couldn't help but have a good impression of her. Sister, why are you going to M country? Are you going to travel? Shiyumi said, I'm not that lucky. Although I travel all year round, it's all for work. I don't have time to travel at all. This time I'm going to M country to participate in a well-known fashion competition. After that, the two of them chatted with each other. Shiyumi was a person with a low sense of humor. She giggled from time to time. Moreover, she was too beautiful. When she laughed, she was so beautiful that the others in the cabin all cast envious and jealous eyes at Qin Haodong. Just then, a tall Caucasian man walked in. This guy had a big beard, wore a well-ironed branded suit, and wore a valuable Rolex gold watch. He had an arrogant look on his face. This guy was stunned at first when he saw Shiyumi, and then a trace of greed flashed in his eyes. There were not many seats in the first-class cabin. Chin Haodong and Shiyumi's seats were on the right side of the plane, while the bearded man and another middle-aged man from Huaxia sat on the left side of the cabin. After confirming his seat, the bearded man said to Chin Haodong in stiff Huaxia language, "Boy, it's not appropriate for you to sit here. Let's change seats." Everyone could see that his purpose was not to change seats, but to change seats for Shiyumi next to him. Chin Haodong glanced at him and said, "Sir, this is the seat I bought. What's wrong with it?" The bearded man said rudely, "Do you know who I am? If I ask you to change seats, you can do it. Why are you talking so much nonsense?" Whether it was Huaxia or M country, there would be such arrogant people. Chin Haodong didn't bother to pay attention to him. He turned his head and continued to chat with Shiyumi. "You." The bearded man was obviously very dissatisfied with Chin Haodong's attitude, but thinking that this was not his territory, he finally put up with it. He took out a stack of bills from his pocket, threw them in front of Chin Haodong, and said, "Boy, here are $2,000. As long as you change seats with me, all the money is yours." Chin Haodong frowned at him and said, "I don't need your money, and I don't want to change seats with you." Shiyumi also said discontentedly, "How can you be like this? Do you know how to respect others? There are some things that can't be bought with money." The bearded man smiled disdainfully and said, "Everything has a price. The reason why you can't buy it is because the price is not high enough." Then he threw another stack of bills in front of Chin Haodong and said, "Here are $10,000. Is it enough for you to change seats?" Chin Haodong picked up the stack of bills and said, "It's still a little short. If you pay another $10,000, I can give you my seat." Shiyumi was shocked. She didn't expect that Chin Haodong was such a money grubber. The bearded man laughed and said proudly, "See? I told you that everything has a price. The reason why you can't buy it is because the price is not high enough." Then he took out another $10,000 and slapped it in front of Chin Haodong. He said arrogantly, "Take the money and leave now." He changed seats to get close to Shiyumi. The reason why he was so generous was that he wanted to show Shiyumi that he was a rich man who spent money like water, so that he could win the heart of a beautiful woman. Under many contemptuous eyes, Chin Haodong gave up his seat with 2 stacks of bills and sat in the seat that originally belonged to the bearded man. Then he gave the stack of bills to the middle-aged man next to him and said, "Uncle, this money is for you. How about changing seats with my girlfriend?" The middle-aged man had bought the plane ticket for less than $1,000. Not only did he get back the cost of the plane ticket, but he also made a lot of money. Of course, he wouldn't miss such a good opportunity. He immediately smiled and said, "No problem, no problem. I'll change seats now." Then he immediately got up and changed seats with Shiyumi. The people around were stunned at first, and then they burst into laughter. Only then did they realize that the bearded man had been fooled by Chin Haodong. Shiyumi also knew that she had misunderstood Chin Haodong. She glanced at him charmingly and whispered in his ear, "You're too bad, but I like it." The two of them were very close, and Shiyumi almost kissed his cheek. A charming body fragrance came to his nose, which made Chin Haodong's mind ripple. Seeing that he had spent more than $20,000 in exchange for a useless seat, and the one sitting next to him was a middle-aged man, the bearded man was furious. He suddenly stood up, pointed at Chin Haodong and shouted, "Boy, how dare you fool me?" Chin Haodong said with a smile, "Why did you say that? You wanted to change seats with me, and I've already done it for you. Is there a problem?" "Boy, you're courting death." The bearded man had always been arrogant. At this time, he could no longer control his anger. He punched Chin Haodong's face hard with his sandbag-sized fist. Seeing this scene, the other people in the cabin were worried for Chin Haodong. It seemed that this young man was going to suffer. The stewardess immediately became nervous when she saw this scene. She turned around and was about to call the captain. But at this moment, an amazing scene happened. As soon as the bearded man's fist was thrown out, it was caught by Qin Haodong's palm and could no longer move forward. The bearded man's face turned red, but his fist seemed to be clamped by an iron clamp. He could neither move forward nor retreat. At the same time, a strong force hit him, and he even heard the sound of his bones being squeezed. Ah, let me go. Damn it, let me go. The bearded man twitched in pain, and tears almost fell from his eyes. Qin Haodong gently pushed him back to his seat. I'm telling you, don't provoke me again, or you won't be able to bear the consequences. You wait for me. I have a lot of money. I will never let you go. The bearded man kept saying harsh words, but his eyes were full of fear. He did not dare to attack Qin Haodong again. It was obvious that he was trying to be tough. At this time, he regretted not taking his bodyguards with him. Otherwise, he would teach this toy boy a lesson. The middle-aged man sitting next to him seemed to be unable to stand it anymore. He said disdainfully, I can't stand people like you who brag. You always talk about money as if you are really rich. The bearded man had just been defeated by Qin Haodong, and now he was looked down upon by the middle-aged man next to him. He suddenly became furious. He patted the black bag under his armpit and said, I have money. Why don't you believe it? Do you see this bag? It's a limited edition Prada, worth $150,000. I have $200,000 in it now. The middle-aged man seemed to be a little shocked by the bearded man's momentum, but he was still unconvinced and said, That's nothing. I also have $200,000, but it's not cash. The bearded man finally saved a little face. He took out a bank card from his pocket and said, Do you want to compete with me in terms of bank cards? I have $30 million in this card. It's just my pocket money, but it's enough for you to spend for a lifetime. Let me tell you, I am the young master of the Jared family. My wealth is beyond your imagination. Speaking of this, he suddenly stood up from his seat and looked around with an amazing momentum. 2 passengers from City N country began to talk about him. Oh my God, he is a member of the Jared family. No wonder he is so rich. Hearing the discussion, the bearded man was even more proud. But at this moment, a black pistol was pointed at his head. Young Master Jared, take out all your money. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.